Game 2.
Oh, this is such an awkward plan B for 100 Thieves. They wanted to be up top, but there's a full team up there. They don't have any cover. They've got angles coming from multiple directions. I don't know where they go from here.
I think they're in. They can hang right here, but they're going to lose bubble. It's 23 seconds before that's going to come back, though, so they might have to make a move, and it's Scars actually fighting up top, so can they push on the backside? That might be Dewa that they have to run into, but Detonator's certainly fighting with Scars, and oh my god, they take Scars out as well. Sudaraiku also falling the players. It is Hardeki getting involved, and Leogri finishing off those kills as well, so players 8 points to their name, and still alive and healthy with this circle closing and round 6 beginning.
They Detonator down, Sudaraiku down as well, and the carnage continues on the low ground. There is hardly anywhere to hide. Hardeki trying to get what he can as there are 5 squads left, and maybe they've made enough space for themselves, players, as they hide behind these few rocks. They may want to just disengage for the time being. As you can see, they're checking the surroundings, looking for their threats. And they have Hardeki on the other side, and they have found some angles, and he is going to be victimized. That is the end of day 1 as we move to 4.
Add a point to the name, add a placement point as well. Players in a perfect spot to close this one out. But there's still 4 squads left they got to get through. 3, in fact. Element 6, they've got 100 Thieves, and V3 Vega currently tied for the top points in the game. Vega looking to push. They're just going to hit the caustic barrel, provide a little bit of cover and patience. That's going to be the name of the game. Who has to fight first? Vega on the low ground. Certainly feel like they're going to have to get exposed before players, but round 6 with only 7 coming is going to allow this to transpire with maybe 100 Thieves staying out of line of sight, because technically they have the most room to travel before they have to engage.
Yeah, they've just disengaged for the time being. All these teams have to be concerned with what is closest to them and the angles they're exposed to, but in terms of fighting, they've got to fight the guys who are on top of them, the guys who might drop on them. That has got to be the priority, which allows 100 Thieves to wait until it's the right time to strike. We've got bombardments coming through. Players will have to dome up now, and they can just admire the scenery for the time being, but they have to quickly decide on what they want to do once this dome is gone. You can see they're thinking about it. The ALGS styles potentially coming out. Are they going to drop on a team? If they do drop, it is a full commitment. There is probably no turning back. Hardeki is here with the Wraith, but I don't know if they're going to have the TP for it. What will they choose to do? We'll see, as 100 Thieves are just holding the angles. Again, they don't want to take a risk. They don't want to overextend. They are playing for top 1.
Put a wedding ring on it. There is no fear of commitment from the players, boys, as well. They're on the top of the mountain, and it's going to be up to Element 6 to try to climb up to meet them. 100 Thieves fighting on the outskirts. Here we go. Players from up top. They throw the thermite as well. Hardeki, he's going to try to find some damage, but they're still waiting. They do not want to drop until there's only 2 squads, them and the team below them, about to get finished, but they are coming from the backside of it, and 100 Thieves are patiently fighting as well. They take the win. It's 100 Thieves versus players. Can Hardeki clutch? He's only fighting 2, and players will come down and rise to the top. They take game 2 here in our 2nd round.
It took a while, but you knew it was coming eventually. Hardeki will not be denied. Got a cheeky smile on his face as they really did exploit the teams below. Waited until the right time to strike. As soon as it said 2 teams remaining, off they go. They make a Reuben sandwich, and they'll be the bread on either side. I wouldn't want to be the meat. That is a very important victory for a very calm Hardeki.
Hardeki. Is it the straw? Is that what's giving him all the superpowers? He somehow finds a way alongside his boys to get the job done at the end of it. We're going to have to talk about that if we have an interview going on with him. But the cheeky smile indeed. The man, the myth, the legend. More clutches than probably anybody in the EMEA scene, possibly in the Apex Legends scene. Some epic plays and 100 Thieves. Unfortunately, at the end of that one, but a solid performance from them overall in this game.
I think any team to the level of 100 Thieves who come second is never going to be content with second place.
Right.
But, you know, I think they did the best they could in terms of timing, in terms of disengaging and trying to hold position as best as possible. But players found themselves at the top of the proverbial mountain and then just dropped on falls. They picked their timing better than everybody else's, along with their positioning. Yeah. And we find them now with 12 kills for 24 points overall from that game.
Incredible stuff. I mean, the fact that they were able to kind of make the game go at their pace is what I think is always going to be player strengths. They find somehow to almost push the envelope, and it really makes it difficult for teams who maybe like to play more patient or wait for the game to come to them. 100 Thieves, Element 6, particularly in that final fight, to really be at the back end of that. You could tell the aggression coming from Leogri, PK, and Hardeki. It was just too much. Big shout out to Vega, though. 12 points on that one, James. That's a very strong performance from them. They were in the top 4. Dewa United Esports, they had that hard run run-in with Audic in game 1, but they seem to have turned it around, consistently getting points here as well. And Suda-Raikou, a team we're expecting a lot of, but that leads out our top 10 there.
Yeah, we see Cloud9, another rough game for them. AD Raccoon, another nightmare game for them. Revenant Esports couldn't replicate the success we saw from them in the first game. TSM, 18th place. However, indeed, they get 6 points on the board. So even though their placement isn't fantastic, they will get themselves a bunch of points. And again, that is part of the consistency we talk about. You might not place so high, but if you can get the frags, then it all counts once you get towards the end.
Well, these are the guys who got all the frags as well. And you could see it was just all a team effort. Yes, PK, MK finds 7 kills, but Ardeki adds 2 assists and 2 to himself, plus 1,900 damage. Leogri gets 3, 2 assists also. These guys are lethal. It's almost like that they are trained assassins. They know how to execute, and you never want to meet them in a 3v3. You never want to meet them in a final circle. You certainly don't want to meet them in your group stages if you need points and are trying to get your rhythm up, because they're certainly going to take as much as they can get, and they've done that today.
Now we can see the overall leaderboard, and players suddenly find themselves in first place, moving up 17 places. We can see how important these points are, especially in these early games. Not far behind are the likes of Zen, Fennel, Revenant Esports, Elevate. A lot of teams you may not expect to be in this position, as we can see just behind them. You have the likes of Element 6, 100 Thieves, Alliance. The question is, can these 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th place teams keep up this consistency and stay ahead of these teams as we go through these games?
Yeah, and the questions to be answered are, why are Alliance maybe having a little bit of an issue in separating themselves? It's not bad, really. 10 points away from 1st to 9th place. But Team Empire, TSM, NRG specifically, and even AD Raccoon and Cloud9, we saw what happened there to them, but a lot of these teams, the answers aren't quite there yet as to what is the cause that things aren't working out well for them, James.
Absolutely. It is, yeah, there's a lot of teams, a lot of name brand teams, let's say, which are running kind of cold at the moment. But I tell you what's hot right now, it's Maggie. She's a smoke show, and we're going to see more of her, I'm sure, in the next game. I can't guarantee it, of course.
But he's sure.
I'll get as close as I can to that.
But he's sure. Trust me, we're going to be talking about Maggie. We're going to get ready for Game 3. We're going to take a quick break, though. We'll be right back to finish out the first half of our 2nd round after this. Welcome virtually to Stockholm, Sweden. We are here live and well, and James has a banana
I just want to show you how big everything behind us is. Banana for scale.
Banana for scale.
So
okay,
I'm
all
sure
right,
you
James,
can understand
you know what?
now.
Let's do this. Let's be honest, because out here, you know, I have a personal story of pain and tragedy. As a caster in my entire career, I've been the privileged to work with some of the best casters and partners, but they've all happened to be 6'3" or 6'4". Now, I am standing on a box. Unfortunately, this is what it really looks like. Me standing next to James. I look like Kevin Hart, and he's
Oh my
Shaquille
God, I didn't
O'Neal.
realize it was this much of a difference. I wouldn't even say you're small.
I know I'm not really, but I always have a 6'4" part. But you know what? I think it's something to look up to. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, everyone next to me has a box.
That's right. That's true.
At present, although yeah,
I'm not an exception.
Yeah, so there we go. I like. People need to know what's going on there.
Yeah,
so
I had to give James his 6'4" rep.
I appreciate
when you're
it.
6'4" and everyone's standing in a box, he's like, I don't get to show how tall
I'm being
I
oppressed
actually am.
by these boxes.
That's right.
They're just hiding the truth. This is the fake news box.
Teams getting ready for game number 3. We are here at the playoffs in day number 1, round 2. We've got 3 rounds, 6 games each round. 3 games of those rounds are going to be on the World's Edge and 3 on Storm Point. This time,
Man, you just said all kinds of numbers.
we're starting out with Storm Point. You're not afraid of math. I just said a lot of numbers about your height and mine as well. So I'm keeping it consistent. Hardecki, he's been keeping it consistent as well, always showing up here. Game 2 specifically, they take the win on that one, players, and they're all the better for it. I think this is a team that the lobby does not want to see heat up.
Speaking of heating up, bearing in mind this is the first LAN in 900+ days, those are not tea bags in his hands.
No.
Those are called hot hands, so they do radiate heat to keep players' hands warmer, especially when you're in a big venue. It's often a little colder in these kind of big venues, and it's hard to keep your hands warm. Many people will know what that feels like to play with cold hands. So you have these things called hot hands to keep your hands a little warmer. And I must say, I do appreciate some of the more custom keyboards we're seeing around here as well. Yeah. I'm a connoisseur of many things. One of them will be the keyboard, and I'm liking what I'm seeing on these desks.
Big shot of the CEO of Apex Legends there, Imperial Hal, sitting next to his partners in crime, Reps, and the young Verholst. Seems locked in, seems focused. Things haven't been working out for TSM so far today, as far as, of course, their standard, which is, if you follow Hal's Twitter, standing on the stage, accepting this trophy as the winner of this tournament. Otherwise, we all shouldn't talk to him. So high standards indeed, high expectations, and that's just the way it is when you're a part of TSM.
Dude, imagine having hair like Sweet. I want hair like that. People think I'm bald, man, but I just like, I'm not.
James isn't bald, actually.
I just like the way it feels when it's a 0.5. Although, trying to get a haircut in America, I go in there and I say, can I have a half? And the guy's like, bald?
Bald?
And I'm like, imagine if I was a cue ball with a head this big, that would be insane. So I'm like, no, half. And then it's like, oh.
Not the Kashira,
I have to say half.
Yeah, you got to say half.
Yeah.
You got to give him your, is that American accent right there?
Yeah. If I say half, he's like bald. But if I say half.
Do we sound like that?
Yeah.
If we do, I feel.
I mean, that worked. That was the translation that he needed. So what can I say?
Yeah. Alliance here, no translation. He's a direct guy, friendly guy, though. Military background and leadership qualities to boot. He's helped Alliance become one of the most successful teams in all of Europe, but they were almost not going to be here, James.
Indeed.
Despite a couple of great performances.
Yeah, that would have been a disaster. But when the backs are to the wall, the best teams will often make it. Often, I say, because we are missing Sentinels.
We are.
I think everybody wants them to be here, and it was really brutal. It was brutal, partly because of Optic in the fashion in which they didn't, but hopefully for the bigger events like championships in future, fingers crossed we can see them at an event like that. I want to see Sentinels do it on LAN. They've got the talent. They are oozing talent. But of course, now we are at the LAN finals. We must focus on the teams that are here. Side note, little segue. We had Hal on screen. We had Hal.
I thought we were.
We had Hal on screen earlier. And he had a keyboard with no F keys on it.
Wow.
Like a 60% keyboard.
That's
which is well up my street.
That's so he doesn't say the wrong thing to his teammates when he's chatting to them. He knows it's a...
Yeah, 12 F keys, way too many for Hal. So like that one on the bottom right corner as well, that will be a 60% keyboard. No F keys in there. So you have a function key. So if you wanted to press F2, for example, it's got his name on it. Oh, and there's a little tribute. Oh, was it from his girlfriend?
I feel like at this point, if you don't have a custom keyboard, you are just not keeping up with the style.
Matches his mouse as well. I think his mouse has been modded with a custom spray. I'm assuming that's what it looks like to me.
It's dope.
There are some guys out there who do that. I've had some make them for me. They've just said like, hey guys, we know you're enthusiastic about this stuff. Can I like mod a mouse for you? And they've like custom spray painted it.
Really?
In, like British racing green and all sorts. Yeah, it's really cool and stuff you can get out there. But have a look at this. This was a big story coming into this series of games. TSM NRG, how sweet. So far, kind of a mixed bag. I think both will certainly want more from what we've seen so far.
It's certainly difficult when you have two superstars. Expectations are win or go home, essentially. That is going to be a tough thing to ask of any human being under what they're doing. Probably traveling from North America, some of the farther trips that they're going to make, obviously, and they're going to have to adjust. Both of them actually have girlfriends here as well, and so they've got a lot of things going on alongside the team, alongside adapting. That is, you got to stay focused for something like this, and you could tell that is the goal. It's not maybe day one, game one, but day two, and of course in day three, we expect those two teams and those two guys to be leading teams that are vying for the championship. Otherwise, we'd be very, very surprised.
I'm just looking at all the setups of these players now. Man, it's still... I think yesterday we were all, we were doing rehearsal, we were here all day, and it was very, just to see the stage, to see the depth of the stage, to see all the seats behind us where all the players are going to be playing was just surreal for Apex.
It's beautiful.
The timing of the global situation, if you will, the pandemic, because it was horrible for all the things that we could have had for Apex, but we're finally starting to have them now, and it is really, really good to see. This is an awesome stage. It's I don't know, it's still a pinch me moment,
Yeah, it certainly is. I think it feels surreal for a lot of us being here as well. And I know, James, you've been such an integral part of our team in the last year, and I think for those as well who were at that first LAN in Poland, there was a special feeling of what the team could do and produce and put together and organize, and we knew it was special. We haven't been able to get back to that for over 950 days. That number has been echoed throughout this broadcast. It will be echoed on Twitter. It is in the players' minds. They know how long they've waited, and that's why it feels surreal. Could it actually be happening? Getting all of your testing done, your traveling done, sleeping, waking up to this morning was like waking up on Christmas morning. It was finally here, and it's time to show up. We're seeing a lot of these teams put on great performances. Some teams not yet woken up, but we expect you can only keep a giant sleeping for so long. Game 3 coming up here on World's Edge. Rain Day and James Bardoff on the cast as we get ready to kick it off.
Time to drop again. World's Edge one more time, and I will be disappointed if Empire do not have Maggie in the mix, and I need confirmation of that immediately. I demand it. I don't request it. I need to see it. I need to see it now. Players coming off a very nice victory will look to do more in this one. We'll see how they're able to get on. I am curious to also see if Element 6 will find themselves with their double gold armor as they normally do. Definitely a great way to start again. Just makes shield cells basically, well, I would say basically batteries, but it's just so strong to stay in the mix. When a team are trying to force you back when they cracked you, you could just get straight back in there again and take them by surprise. As we saw NRG do with, well, in a different fashion with that play where they just all went up the stairs. And it takes a strong leader to do the things you can't do because you can't do them. That's what they're not expected. And a play like that, completely catching a team off guard. We'll see if they can do that and stabilize afterwards if they're fortunate enough. Again, there were so many teams looking to third party in that situation. But I think with a play like that, they definitely deserved more.
It seems like they're on the right path. Just got to keep it up. You got to iterate. As well as something that I've noticed with NRG, just continually getting a little bit better. And I actually feel that they have manifested a great strategy of playing open space and really rotating well on Stormpoint too. So this is something that obviously players have had to juggle, bringing in lineups for Stormpoint, bringing in lineups for World's Edge, and managing your success on both of them. We saw a team like in the final round of the first round today, the final game, we saw GMT Esports actually come out on a win, and they had a tremendously terrible start on Storm Point, and that was mostly because they were 50-50ing, which is where it all leads back to the gold backpack would have been, excuse me, the shield would have been super helpful in a situation where you're trading limited resources in a fight that could determine 19th spot or going on to continue playing.
I saw that Sutaraiku landed on the dome, and traditionally nobody wants the dome. As time goes on, if no one's going to the dome, maybe team spreads to the dome. But seeing the zone is all the way up towards the northeast, it's going to be a very long rotation for them. But for Cloud9, it is on their doorstep, and they'll be very happy with that situation at the very least. But once they have that information, better gather up your resources and pick your position, because you may be stuck there for a while. See some early rotations from 100 Thieves as well. Seen some nice performances for them, and they'll look to do one more before World's Edge goes out the door and Storm Point comes in.
A team that has been so close yet so far in a lot of instances, although these teams and these players extremely successful as far as championships go, we've wanted to continue seeing them perform to their best over the course of not only Split 2, but these playoffs here, and they certainly seem like they have the attitude for it. Picking up Onmu has been a huge part of, I think, the camaraderie and the team comms that are going along and creating a lot of synergy. So big expectations for them in this tournament. Cloud9, a team that clearly, from a communication standpoint, had a couple of questions that needed to be answered here. Obviously, playing with a sub, not easy, but continuing to do their best. And I think that's kind of the key here on Stay Naughty, as you see him rocking the Gibraltar.
Traditionally in blue, the Cloud9 squad. Good start for them in that respect. Purple backpack on your Jibby, not too shabby either. We did talk about gathering resources, and all of those things will certainly help. And again, they'll just be looking to look at the climate around them for a while as we see rotation after rotation. Vega went deep recently with their Watson in tow, and they look to do the same now as they found some cover at the very least, but what else will there be? They've got the Watson ult up immediately to absorb, and again, I think we don't really get the opportunity to talk about how they can save their shield cells if they can hug the ultimate and get their shield slowly up, but you don't always have that opportunity, but it will certainly help extend your utility. They find themselves in a tough place though. They are sandwiched between Cloud9 and 100 Thieves. Rather you than me.
Not a great spot to be. A quick correction there was, I believe, Graceful, not Stay Naughty, who should be on the, of course, Valkyrie there. But Vega, these are important moments for them. 20 squads still left. Last game on World's Edge. You want to make the most of it. You've already set yourself up to have really a strong kind of showing. If you could win here, if you can get a top 10 here, you're setting yourself up for the final 3 games to be very successful and doing it a bit unconventionally. 30-30 repeater, one of my favorite weapons, but not what we always see players go to as far as a second offhand weapon. Typically, you are running something like a Mastiff, or you are running maybe multiple flex ability guns like a R301 and a wingman, a car, a wingman, something that gives you close range, but the ability to be nimble as well.
Yeah, and that could suggest that they prioritize rotating rather than trying to gather a better situation for themselves.
Right.
We can see players rotating in, so things are only going to get worse for Vega. They are surrounded by many of the best players in the world, and bearing in mind, we saw that 30-30 had no attachments whatsoever. So things are going to be difficult for them. Trying to level up your white shields, your squishy shields with a scope plus 30-30 is not going to be the easiest task in the world. I did see a wingman on one of the other players, so perhaps it'll be easier. But which direction do they even face? They are in a very ropey spot. How do they even make a rotation unless they're going to launch into the air once more? So many questions. We'll keep an eye out for the answers as we see players look to reposition as well.
Trying to hold edge here. This should be good for 2 zones. Round 1 on the way of closing. 20 squads still left. 60 players. Not a player hath fallen. And that means that these teams know how important this game is in this A versus C matchup. There is only one more game, round of 6, to come later on this evening, and it will be A versus D broadcast on your main stream. But of course, all of these teams will be fighting against one another over the course of the day to determine who sets themselves up for the point total of being in the winner's bracket tomorrow, and of course avoids that loser's bracket and ultimately avoids elimination easiest, so that they can make it here on Sunday and be playing on the stage they are playing now. Zen, a team from Brazil who has had a fantastic showing today already.
Team players fell back from their position going over the zip line. I don't know if they really had an approach forward, especially with Vega in their position. In the meantime, Zen will try to hold on to the area they have, but they've got to get their Jibby back up again as soon as they can. There's a lot of action going on outside bombardments as well, which may encourage players to force their way forward. You can see them considering trying to put down a Caustic Cult to maybe try and control some more area. They've got to get their Jibby up soon, and risks will have to be taken in order to do that. They can put some barrels down, but will they go for the ult as well? How much do they want to throw in the drain potentially in order to get their Jibby up? It is worth it, of course. You lose so much ability if your Jibby isn't up. But K20, here's the res. Barrel is not going to be enough, though, is it? Hey. Goodbye.
Wow, he is swinging with that, and not even a turbocharger in sight. The confidence, James, to be able to go ahead and try to peek that corner. It does work out for them, though. It is Zen who take the lion's share of the damage, and they force Wolf out from underneath. Say, we don't want to share this tendency with you. Get out, eviction notice on the door. And Wolf, well, he doesn't argue much with that.
He just came in the fire exit, saw the door was ajar, and exploited Zen. And again, you saw them pull out the Caustic Cult, but not throw it. Like, ooh, should we, shouldn't we? Even if we do, where do we throw it?
Right.
They don't know where the threats are, and it cost them. Wolf now, where does he go? I don't think he's got anywhere to go. We may be losing our first team very, very soon indeed. Still 20 squads up for now as he tries to find something somewhere. And I'll tell you one thing, he's not recovering those banners, I don't think.
No, it cannot. It can only last for so long, and he's just got to hope that somebody else comes in and starts making noise, starts knocking on the door, starts distracting them down the street, because so far he has got the sole attention of Element 6. But meanwhile, across the way, NRG, they are in the mix, and I believe they are next to 100 Thieves and Dewa United Esports. So pay attention to this one. NRG, Rocker, and Nathan go down. This is Rocker fully falling. It's C9. Graceful getting involved in it as well, and Dewa starting that engagement, finishing off Nathan here with Caustic Gas. This is a terrible situation for NRG, but a beautiful one for Dewa, who we said needed to go big today.
Yeah, everybody had a piece of that cake by the looks of things. Everyone getting fed up of NRG, and as I say that, Vaxlon will take out Sweeten. Goodbye, NRG.
Wow.
They are the team that finishes in 20th place. That is a shocker indeed. A very bumpy road for NRG, and I don't see any suspension whatsoever. They are taking massive damage from game to game.
Clearly, just it's not working out what's happening here. But again, the only thing I can think of, and we'll be giving it to our other casting pair to finish up these last 3 games coming up soon after this on Stormpoint, is that a map change will help them significantly. That will get them back in their rhythm. It is not the NRG we expect to see on Sunday. It's not the NRG we expected to be here in round 2, but ultimately, as quickly as it can turn off and you can struggle, you can get right back into the rhythm, and particularly with the challenge, James, of changing landing spots and changing groups this fast. You talk about a team like GMT, I'm mentioning them because it's really easy to note the early contest. You go A versus D or B versus D, they may not have to deal with that. And so that changes and adds a whole new layer of strategy that is clearly impacting a lot of these players, and they're getting used to it.
Yeah, and so some of the results were unfortunate for NRG, as we saw when they made that great play and pushed into the building. However, cumulatively, it is less than desired, putting it mildly. We see Reject have some problems now. They've lost their crypto. I'd rather lose a crypto than lose a Jibby. However, you know, when you do need to retrieve a banner, crypto's the one you want to go and get it. Not on this occasion. You saw they were trying to fish for it, but they don't want to become fish food, so they have to go back. And the teams around him will know that they have forced the dome, so they're going to use the cover of that dome to get out of there, because if there's a team near enough to them and they know they're in a 3 versus 2 and they've burned their dome, that could be the go command to thirst the other kills. So I think they made the correct decision in that respect, but it's too late to go over the wall now. And on this side of it, they may find themselves in trouble as they're almost losing their Jibby as well. He's running naked for the time being, trying to find some cover, trying to get inside just to get the shields up. So this game looking real hard for Reject. And while they've made their way in to try and heal up, they'll soon have to go back out again because they're not in the zone anymore.
Vivid imagery you're painting for us all back at home, James, and here in Sweden. Players, I think they like the imagery they've got in front of them as well. Players just have all of this area to move in for, and this is a great edge because you've got this barrier, obviously, where you can play back from, poke, but this is kind of what players like to do. They were running Bangalore on Storm Point, and it just gives you that instance of they're willing to play compositions that don't revolve around staying still, and obviously revolve around taking risks and using the opportunity to be successful, to see what's coming towards them. So there's so much coming on, and there's so many things that we can expect from today. Just to reset where we are at 18 squads left. We are in game 3, and we have a fantastic opportunity to see whether 100 Thieves will show up big yet again. Will players take play from the edge, or will, of course, 80 Raccoon, Karenpay, Obley find a way, Parka as well, to keep up this gatekeeping situation, because they are fantastically positioned right now.
Hey, thanks.
And of course, you can see there's just a lot involved in all of these. Look, it's Dogma with an R301. I don't think he's going to be able to do enough. That's Reject out. Detonator hits the detonator on that one. And they close the deal on their game here in World's Edge. We'll see you in Storm Point.
And game after game here on World's Edge, we just have big casualties. And now we've got TSM in a very prickly situation. AD Raccoon on the other side, and I think that TSM may get the better of this one. Verhulst's trying to cover, but they've all been cracked now, and it is point-blank range where one team is going to have to go down here. Verhulst and Reps trying to do what they can. There is cover while Reps pops a bat, and it seems that TSM may survive. We shall see, as I don't think this is over quite yet. We've got grenades flying through, but they've got 2 men up, and that might be good enough.
It's 80 Raccoon who are trying to push in. TSM desperately need these points. Only 10, sitting well below the threshold of the lobby. But it's Detonator coming in as well, and Detonator, are they going to eliminate TSM? They will. 17th place out. Detonator takes down 2 squads in a row. Reject, then TSM. They are on a run here. 18 points so far in this lobby.
Get those shield swaps out. That building will be useful for a time, although they're feeling it. They're feeling the full set. What do you mean recovery? What do you mean res? What do you mean stabilize? Get out of my server, Detonator is saying. The cavalry's coming through as well, as they are thirsting like they've been eating nothing but biscuits for an hour.
20 points to the name. Can they stabilize here? They've got shield swaps. Surely Yuna knows it. He's going to go for it. Right now he swaps into an empty, but he's going to use his time, hopefully that they've bought, to just hit a shield bat and get some extra 25 value onto a full red Evo there. Detonator really showing up, giving us a taste of where maybe North America in a lot of these World's Edge situations, running up against other regions, need to be more prepared, or maybe look to take these fights differently, because Detonator almost feel like they're having free reign.
TSM and NRG grieved by the 3 Ps in different games. Very, very brutal on World's Edge it can be. And again, the shield swaps in that building, they can just fall. We saw the Detonator getting ulted there, getting Jibby ulted. Just fall back to that building, get those shield swaps out. That building will be real crucial for them, forcing the little flyers away. Get out of my internet. Detonator now looking for more opportunities, as we see some players living amongst the lava. That's 2 different teams there. I'm not sure if they're even aware of each other, but we've got some vermin down below.
YL, Midnight Lay, and Yudu. Incredible performers so far on the day. Still have to do a lot more to catch up with players who are victors in the 2nd game. But in this 3rd game, it's not too much. 11 squads left. YL on the wingman, hits the reload real quick. 350 next on the Evo. He'd love to have a red, just like Yudu, who hit that swap and then the shield bat. But the biggest part is that they've been able to stabilize. And who were they fighting? Who are they looking at here? Fennel, another APAC North representative who has performed just 1 point higher than them. The regions coming out to play in the first test of Might on a LAN in over 2.5 years, and it has not disappointed.
Japanese team Detonator looking to put in more work. They have to abandon their building, but it has been kind to them. And we've got more rats on deck, desperately hoping that the drone doesn't come his way. But here, this run is going to be a painful one if he doesn't get moving quickly. Got to round that rock before he can make his way to some cover, or at least try. Detonator now. They've got 8 kills on the board so far, and they'll be looking for more. This has been a very promising game for them, but there are still 9 other squads on the server, so there is much more work to do. Worst case scenario, 8 kills will give them something, but there's so much potential for more as they move with confidence.
22 points on the name, 10 squads left as round 4 looks to close.
Oh my days.
3 seconds here now, but Detonator, they're taking every bit of time that they have and making the most of it. 12s on the board from the R301 as it sings at range, and they look to rotate here. No need to kind of push on that center part. They're going to play outside. And will they run into 100 Thieves here and help be able to third party?
100 Thieves now up high, looking to do what they can. There are a lot of traps in that building, and now there are some angles and some big problems. Vaxlon and Scurry may be eliminated. Scurry's been deleted. My God, those caustic barrels delayed enough to cause a catastrophe. Triple Purple Cloud9 moving forward. They smell opportunity. They've got the zone to their right-hand side, which will give them some confidence as they will finish off 100 Thieves, opening the door, sort of barrels, and that was that.
Wow, Cloud9 here, finally maybe having a moment. And this is going to be very, very important, knowing that halfway they still have the opportunity to have a performance on Storm Point and change the tide of where this is going. But certainly Poseidon, the god of the tides right now, has been in the hands and favor of Detonator as well as Finnel. They are not alive. However, Finnel, they've fallen out. It is Elevate, Detonator, Element 6, Vega, Dewa, United Esports, Audic, and Cloud9 left. And Audic seem to be having a really nice spot here from range. They've got a lot of space to move in, but it's Dewa United Esports currently in a conflict with Elevate and Sleep. He falls down, James, but so does Doom.
Trying to create some space for themselves now, falling around the corner, but he just can't make it around the next one. And we've got some big issues now. Elevate deleted. In the meantime, they are really trying to stay alive as best they can. And that's where that gold armor comes in clutch. Or does it? No, he doesn't make it, actually. Gets eliminated as he's popping. Even the shield cell can't get there in time.
Stay Naughty finds the kill. This is huge for Cloud9. Fans around the world know how much they've gone through here in this moment. Can they keep it up? Outrelli certainly adds another placement point, and he adds a wingman shot as well. Stay Naughty, look at this angle that he's got. Creeping in from behind. Do they even see him coming? Stay Naughty stays. Naughty, he's got the car in his hand. A quick reload as well. Any ammo you choose, he'll put in that thing and make it ring. He finds the kill. Another squad down. Cloud9 turning up the heat. But just as I say it, Outrelli falls. It's just Stay Naughty left alive.
Gas Daddy's got indigestion, and the other teams can't make their way inside because there is caustic gas all over the shop that it will soon go. The bombardment on the outside will have to just force people away, and maybe they can stabilize. Can't go in, can't stay out, got to fall back, and that might be a lifeline for Cloud9 as they try to get their team standing once again. And still, this 30-30 with almost no attachments, still putting in nasty damage as the reses inside the truck continue.
APAC North almost feel like they're representing their entire region the way they've been playing so excellently. It is absolutely what you would expect to see from a team that has wanted to represent a region that has wanted to showcase themselves with the best of the best from South America, from APAC South, from North America, from EMEA. Well, they're certainly doing it, but there's still one top dog here who came in quite high on the rankings, Element 6, who are leading the current rankings now. 3 squads left. Element 6, Audic, and Cloud9. Cloud9 still looking to desperately get those points with a sub. But it doesn't feel like that with the way they're playing. If they can keep this rhythm up, James, and they can put this in to the next 3 games, this would be an incredible story of perseverance for them.
They've got some range for the time being, but you can see where that zone is going. They're going to have to press forward eventually. This is where they're waiting. Oh, the waiting game might come in.
Wow.
Again, desperately trying to keep their team alive, but look at the missiles that are coming through the windows. Oh my God, Stay Naughty might not be staying anywhere. I don't know if he's gonna make it. And here come the guns, Element 6 pushing. They smell opportunity, and down go Cloud9. We move to 2 squads now, the final 2. If an Element 6 can play the waiting game, because they will have cover as they can watch their opponent lose theirs and have to run forward. It's a nervous time now as Element 6 can smell the opportunity.
Audic, the only team left from Brazil having a chance to change this dynamic. The story seems almost already written. It's just waiting to be greenlit by the studio, but will there be a rewrite? Will we see something change? It's an aggressive bubble as well. Sua looks to jump in, but not bite off more than he can chew. Both teams teasing, pressuring each other. but not fully committing. Element 6 know that there's a threat. K-Swinny gets involved. He's got that Fortify passive, 15% less damage to the Caustic and the Gibby. You've got to do 30% more damage in total to get through these guys. Plus, the aim, it's just so good sometimes. And K-Swinny knows it. He goes up for the Ego challenge. He goes down, but he's got Nags supporting him on the high ground as well. It's just Nags. They're trying to finish it off. He takes down one. Can Nags clutch it up and get the second? Will it be a total hero moment for Element 6? And Nags, the wingman shot. No! Brazil takes the win. Onyx celebrates as they should as they take game 3.
What a crazy, crazy finish. We got knocks on knocks action on the outside and nervous wingman shots, but there wasn't enough in the end. And here these are the pop-offs we need on land, man. Talk your business. Trying to not say a certain other word, but this is what we need. The pop-offs. Keep going. Give it. That was a great finish to the last game of ALGS Edge in the second series of 3 today.
What a moment. Not just from Element 6 and Odic, but from that entire lobby, especially those top 5 teams. The ability for Vega to move in, the ability obviously for C9 to kind of deal with a hand that wasn't quite favorable to start out with and somehow manage that top 4 position, top 3 position. But at the end of the day, it was our team from Brazil, Odic, who would find the win, the clutch up indeed with the Mastiff. And man, they are smiling aplenty. A huge support here to our Brazilian fan base as well. You know, they're happy.
Bearing in mind these finals are in Europe, if you're used to watching EMEA and North American Apex Legends, then there are all kinds of spanners in the works with the results that we've seen in these games. But finally, we've got a good placement from Cloud9. I'm going to mention that first, in 3rd place with 8 kills. Element 6 up there as well with 8 kills, but in 1st place with 11, it is Odic. We've got new names, we've got new faces at the top of many of these finishes.
You know what I'm learning about this? Not only the fact that we've got a lot of teams that are now going to be a part of this conversation that maybe weren't a part of it coming into it because we hadn't seen them perform at LAN against teams that have built up that brand name that we've seen. But it's the fact that we may not know anything. Odic, Detonator, Fennel, Elevate, Dewa, if you tried to pick out this lobby and put Scars, Alliance, NRG, TSM, and Empire in the bottom, not only 5, but the bottom, like, 9, I mean, you're looking at this is what we would say is the best of Europe and APAC North coming in.
Look at the bottom 6, AD Raccoon, Empire, TSM, Alliance, NRG. Those are the ones to focus on.
Seed.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. Players down there in 12th place as well. It is a drought here. All I'm seeing is 0s and 1s. It's like we're in a matrix here, but it's just full poverty. It's no programming, just basic ass numbers. And these guys leave with almost nothing here. Things looking real dry in the bottom half of match number 3 today.
Man, James, this has been such a great moment, and it's such a great day so far. We've got some casters coming up to finish off this day. Of course, we're switching to Stormpoint, which will be a whole new challenge for these teams. But just to me, your thoughts on just the way the regions have clashed and come together, and some of the surprises, or just some of the expression of feelings that is coming through, because it's just such a great experience to be able to see this happen finally.
I think this is what the best we could have asked for. I think this is what we needed, is that the other regions are showing, like, it's not just about your EMEA, your NA. It's not just about your big orgs, big names, big faces, but it's about the new kids on the block who haven't been able to go against these teams for years because of the pandemic and so on. So it is fantastic to see that Apex is thriving in all different directions.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it makes me want to urge you all. I know you're watching now, but to tell your friends, to get your parents up and say, watch this. I know you don't like esports, or you haven't seen esports in a while, but you need to look at this because the storylines that are unfolding are setting up for a record-breaking success and a record-breaking, I think, experience for all of us here on our first LAN in 3 years. That is going to be it. Obviously, for James and I, we are getting ready for Game 3, though. I'm not sure if we have our desk ready to go.
Yes,
I think, John.
We do.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and throw it over to Fallout. He's going to lead the desk here to break down what we just saw after 3.
Nice. Thank you so much, Rain Day. Fallout here. But look, get the camera off of me, all right? More important things are being had right now on this desk because guess what? I am joined for the very first time on an ALGS broadcast on the analyst desk with none other than the man himself. It's Nice Wig alongside the one and only Vicky Kitty. Wig, how you feeling, brother?
Honestly, man, I'm feeling great. We're rocking the B stream over there, and we're having a good time, just talking, having fun. But, man, you guys do such a good job over here. It's a pleasure to be on this broadcast. I love you guys. I love what you do. So just thanks for having me on here, honestly.
You know, and he's humble. He calls it the B stream. This is the B stream on paper, but it's the A team. You know what I'm saying?
It's the S plus tier stream out here, man. They've been doing such a good job. You guys are actually popping off. Love your energy, man. It's so contagious. You guys have been popping off.
Thank you.
Absolutely, man. And real quick, before we jump into the analysis here, obviously a lot to talk about on the main stage, a lot to talk about on the side stream, but how are things going for you so far, man? How's the experience been?
You know, overall, it's been unbelievable. It's been 3 years since LAN. I was at Poland, I was at X Games, and then we had a 3-year gap, and now we're back. And it just feels surreal, to be honest. Seeing the stage, seeing everyone hanging out from different regions, taking pictures, posting them together. It's a pretty crazy experience. It feels right. It feels like we should be here. Yeah, honestly.
Vicky, how about you?
It's been over 950 something days at this point, and it's insane that we get to see everybody together. We get to see the raw energy. We get to hear the trash talk in person, man. And it's such a good feeling to be here to see these players perform to their best abilities, but also seeing some underperformances too.
Yeah, that's a good point. We'll talk about that and more. I'm excited for some hot takes.
I'm down.
We'll jump into the highlights here from our last series. Real quick, you mentioned you were at the last one. There's those moments in esports you never forget. One of them for me is as a caster turning around and seeing you and the three boys all in arms hugging, hoping you're going to qualify for the next round. You did. You remember that moment?
Oh, yeah. Somehow. I have no idea how we did it. It was horrible, but we did it, man.
I would call it the Backstreet Boys of Apex. That's why I used to call you guys, man. Good times back in the CLG days. But hey, let's jump into it. The quick highlights here. I know, Wig, we're catching you up because you've been watching the second stream. So match number 1, guess what? It was South America in the end game against Alliance, Vicky, and Zen ended up on top. They came down from high ground and they succeeded.
Yeah, that was also really impressive because we saw that Alliance trying to split the attention, but that's what I mean. The pop-offs, the raw motion that we're able to witness with these player cameras. What's great is that before they won that game, I believe they only had 5 points, yet they still were able to have that raw energy after that one dub, man.
Yeah, we were in the back, not gonna lie, kind of like roasting them. Like, you're popping off that much. They had 5 points last series. It doesn't matter. It's done and dusted. If you pull up and perform here in the second series, that's what matters. Second game, well, it was a team you're familiar with. Seeded against them on LAN. It was players.
Yeah, and those guys are crazy. Hardeki is what we call the Grim Reaper. If he's wandering around, he's looking for KPs, looking for blood, you'll pop over to his team, has 0 damage, you go to Hardeki, has 4 kills, 800. I mean, the guy just knows how to wander. He's very similar with Hal with that playstyle, with a very Wraith mindset, and they know how to...
Look at him. This is after the win, by the way. Yeah, look at Hardeki.
Look at him. He's done it 1,000 times before. He just knows what's happening. He knows he's that guy. He really is.
I don't know what's going on back there, though. That's something different. That was a little different than your celebration.
A little bit different.
Yeah, and then match number 3, we'll see the celebration this time. I think that'll be more similar to the Nice Wing vibes in Poland. But we saw another South American team. Of course, lots of highlights here. TSM gets pushed by a third party from Detonator, the substitute team that came from APAC North. They weren't even qualified, but one team could make it. And they take out TSM early, a disappointing showing from TSM on World's Edge. Nice Wing.
Yeah, and I mean, I love Detonator, by the way. I actually died to one of their players like a year and a half ago. I followed him on Twitter immediately because I couldn't believe the raw skill he had.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so seeing him killing me in ranked, and then me following him, freaking out, and him being here is absolutely wild.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
So cool.
What a story is that? And of course, the way it ended off, Otic, this was insane. Wait, you were here on the desk with us. You saw it. A 2v3 clutch. You watched the Skittle Cakes 1v2. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. And this is the pop-off you're used to, right?
Oh, I love this. Look at him. Look at him going crazy. And the coach going wild. And that's what it's all about. I love it. I love the ish talk. That's what I'm about, baby. I love it so much.
I think I know you're familiar.
Yeah. Just what's amazing is that the coach hyping up the players, talking for the players, and then looking at the other players saying, yeah, that's what we're all about, man.
He's like, I didn't even do that. They did that. Anyways.
Yeah, it's like when your boy pops off and you're just talking crap for him. Like, hey, you know what it's about, baby. We do this. That's how it goes.
Yeah, but hey, I want to get caught up. Obviously, we're going to take a look at the results from this stage and the overall leaderboards, and I want to get caught up on the side stream. But as a result of game number 3, E6 stock went way up. 33 points for the former 69 IQ boys. Obviously, Smeggy Toe, he retired. He's watching this team right now, and they are performing. Right behind them is Elevate. South America showing up. I mean, look, Elevate. Otic, we had Zen win game number 1. SA is really showing up here. I'm eating my words here.
Yeah, I love that. I love seeing SA pop off. You know, they are undermined sometimes when it comes to like the online tournaments. They weren't really talked about too much. Seeing them do well here at LAN where it actually matters, to me, makes me so happy. It's kind of like the CLG boys story. Everyone was saying they didn't deserve a pro league spot, didn't deserve to get signed. And look here, they're at LAN, performing, playing decent. There you go.
That's a great point. And Vicky, it's not Cuba. We don't got any Cuban representation. Girl down in Miami. But we do have some Chilean players, some Spanish speakers here competing from South America.
Absolutely. And what it is that you were talking about South America. They heard you, Fallout. They were like, you know what? We got to show up right now because we hear Fallout is talking about us.
And you know what's interesting? You look at AD Raccoon. This is the tell of the other side of the story, right? Tell the other tape. It's AD Raccoon in last place, the #1 team from APAC North. But I believe in your lobby in Series 1, they popped off, right?
They won, and they were dominant. There was a really crazy performance, some insane mechanical plays out of those guys. And I mean, they might be in last right now, but 3 games left. I'm going to be honest, I could see them popping off for sure.
They perform in Storm Point?
Oh, yeah, perform in Storm Point. They're a hard edge team. They love to take fights. They love to take 3v3s because there's just no one that could really take them in that mechanical skill.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah.
AD Raccoon, obviously the big story there, not playing with Selly, the star of South Korea, not playing due to injury, actually, and actually getting replaced by Karan Poo, who's on the team formerly. They did well in Split 1 playoffs. They performed. He hasn't competed in the last couple months, though, so there's a lot of conversation. He's great on World's Edge, doesn't have as much Storm Point experience. How much do you think that's impacting him?
I mean, we've seen it already with the other teams right now. Just between the different compositions that we see between World's Edge into Storm Point, a lot of these teams feel very comfortable on World's Edge. But then when you take a look at Storm Point and how some of these teams make those quick rotations, it's all about what your game plan is with those compositions. Like Team Liquid, they love to run the Loba. They love to play the end circle on Storm Point. We see that very similarly when it comes to some of these other teams when it comes to Storm Point, whether they want to prioritize their rotation first and foremost.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Storm Point's definitely like a kind of like an RNG fest a little bit. A lot of teams are starting to learn a little bit more about Storm Point, and I feel like NA is the region that's falling behind. A lot of these teams are adapting with the comps that they like. They're starting to understand what feels good for them, but you see NA flip-flopping around with what compositions they like, and they don't really know what they want to play. You see NA always switching when they do bad to another character, and I think NA is behind in the Storm Point. I think Team Liquid and G2 are the strongest NA teams for Storm Point.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
That's good perspective. Well, speaking of Storm Point, we're going to be heading there in just a little bit. Let's take a look at our secondary stream standings, though. Wig, you've been watching this action, and speaking of APAC North, they show up in that last game. Talk about what we've been seeing so far. Walk me through the standings here.
Yeah, I mean, you see G2 coming in second right now. Backs against the wall. It's where they thrive. They love it. We were talking about how they love the animosity. They love the hecticness. They love the ish talk. They're all about it. And them being not good in the first round, that lit a fire under them for sure. And you know they want to pop back, coming in second place. We see APAC up there in the top right there. Love to see it. Optic getting third as well, just recently signed. And Team Liquid still in the top 4 right now. And then Reply Totem in the 5th. I think that's an overall standing that I was expecting. Crazy Raccoon, I expected a little bit higher though.
Interesting. Vicky, what else are you seeing here?
I'm saying that the sponsor curse is not affecting Luminosity. It's not affecting Optic.
Sure.
They're popping off. I love how we've been seeing Optic also on the rise. Instead of it kind of being wishy-washy, it's been constantly been going up for that team, and I love to see it.
2 things here on the second page of the standings, and Wig, follow up with any other detail you have. Ascend, well, they're descending. Another back-to-back disappointing finish for them. A team that came in with high expectations. Split 1 playoff champions, not looking great. Alongside them, though, Team Singularity playing with 2 players and outperforming in 13th place, which is crazy to see. GMT, another team that came in with high expectations. Obviously not playing with Strafey. Our heart goes out to Strafey in Ukraine. But Mateys, obviously substitutes, playing fairly well. We got to see more from them, though.
Yeah, playing with a sub is always tough, no matter how talented they are. Sometimes your sub will just perform well with you and you have the synergy. Sometimes you don't. Depends how much time and practice you have with them beforehand. And obviously it was a very short sub time for Matey and company. We figured it out, but I mean, it's going to hit regardless.
Absolutely. Well, hey, we're going to jump to a quick break in a second. Before we do that, though, Wig, I just want to give you a chance. I mean, first off, thank you for joining us in the desk, man. The vibes, the energy, the analysis have been great. I'm so glad to finally have you officially come an ALGS broadcast here. It's been awesome. You're also streaming in the secondary stream. For those that are watching and maybe aren't aware, talk to us about that and tell us where we can find you.
Yeah, thanks, man. I love being here. It means a lot. Right now, we're up over there. I literally see the stream room that we're at. We're hosting the B stream over there. We have, you know, a pretty crazy vibe up there right now. It's not as official as you guys. You guys definitely do the official stuff. We like to hang out, shoot it a little bit. You know what I mean? It's a vibe. So if you want to hang out, it's on my channel. Nice week. Come through. We're hosting the other games. If you want to vibe, come through.
That's absolutely right. It's been the perfect balance here. We got the official broadcast, commentators, some of the best in the business here, like Rain Day, like James Bardoff, and our Aussies that are coming to join us. And then we have the watch party vibe, which they're having a great time up there on the B stream. So I'm absolutely loving this format. Hope you guys at home are enjoying it as well. Again, have myself, I'm Fallout, Vicky, Kitty, nice week. Thanks for enjoying a little bit of a break here between games 3 and 4, so we can give the players a chance to recoup. We're going to be jumping right into game 4 right after this, though. Don't go anywhere.
Bogey here.
We are officially halfway through day one. 9 games done, 9 to go. And this is where we start to get to the busy end. Genome, of course. And so far, it's been so interesting here for round 2. A couple of the teams we thought would be at the top, finding themselves maybe on the bottom. And a couple of teams we thought would be towards the bottom, on the top.
It's like someone got the scoreboard and literally just kind of flipped it on its head at this point.
Yep.
All the big names there down the bottom. And we both predicted AD Raccoon, I think, for this series. And they are having an absolute shocker. It's like they completely blitzed the lobby in round 1 here. And they've just gone to sleep in round 2.
Fortunately, they had a very, very good round 1, remembering that all of the points accumulated in round 1 cross over to round 2 as well. So for those that did start well and maybe not having the best of round 2s, it's fine. They've got some points. Now, speaking of points, we go to Storm Point. Now we switch over for this, Genome. Hopefully we can see maybe some of those teams that we saw towards the bottom end on World's Edge. You know, you had the likes of ADR, like you mentioned, but even like Empire, TSM, Alliance, probably could expect to see more from them. Hopefully, for their sake, it can happen here on Storm Point.
I mean, yeah, there's just so many, as you mentioned, that extremely strong teams that are kind of struggling. And then you've got the surprise packages, right? Some of those South American teams coming through. Zen, as well as Odic, they both picked up a win. Unfortunately, that was kind of about it, right? They had one massive game, and then there was 2 points between them for the other 4 games. So they need to be much more consistent than that.
Mate, you cannot be knocking a team that's found wins, because you know, you're from APAC South, and guess what? They're the only region that has not found a win through 9 games played. As we head to Storm Point now, match 4 of 6 here for round 2, of course. Still a long way to go today, right? And that's the other thing to take note for teams that maybe over the last couple of games here for round number 2, you've still got round number 3 as well.
Still some time to get it done. And looking at this ring pool, we're going all the way up the hill. That means those teams that start there, Lightning Rod and High Point, looks like it's some APAC North teams that are going to be up there, as well as Odic. So they're going to be extremely happy. The team starting High Point, team starting Lightning Rod. Thunderwatch, is that actually no one's there at the moment? So considering that is dead center of this circle, Xenox, I'm sure that's going to become a flashpoint pretty soon.
A lot of teams down to the south as well, of course, and Storm Point being very open means we're going to be seeing them having to rotate, making sure they're not too late towards getting to that Thunderwatch area. Otherwise, it could be quite difficult later on in the game. So I think making sure if you're a team down to the very south end of the map, you probably do want to get a move on rather early on. Now, Daywa United Esports, perfectly on our screens here. Gino, this is a team that you obviously know very, very well, and honestly have done pretty well, all things considered, here for round 2.
Yeah, decent start for them, as you can see. Both them and Revenant, the 2 Indonesian representatives we have here from APAC South. Fantastic start to round 2. We saw so much aggression coming out from Revenant, right? Picking up 13 kills in that first game, and that's exactly what they're known for. You know, going into this competition, we had some worries about how they would perform in these types of lobbies, because look, there's been a lot of talk from the Peanut Gallery that perhaps that kind of style of Apex wouldn't perform in a LAN environment against this high caliber of teams, but Revenant, they're sticking with it, and for the moment here in round 2, it's working for them.
You just see the live standings there on the right-hand side of our screen, and some big names towards, say, the lower end, but Element 6 on top at the current stage, leading the way, still 3 games to go, of course, now over on Storm Point. Fennel, a team that's doing pretty well at the moment, 9th, 22 points. It's also a lobby that's pretty congested on the standings themselves, Genome. I think really only 1 or 2 games, and you're suddenly going to get quite a decent amount of placing further up, and you can jump quite a lot in this leaderboard up towards the top.
It's something that we saw in the first round as well. You know, the points seem to have contracted a little bit because they're being spread out more evenly across these teams. It's a good thing. It's a good sign. It means that we're getting a high-skilled lobby where these guys really are going head-to-head. There's not just, you know, 1 or 2 teams that are a step above the rest and kind of running away with it. It makes for such an exciting tournament and a great start to this LAN.
Quiet start though so far. One of my favorite things about Storm Point is honestly we do have a pretty decent flow to the map generally. Generally we can have some decent fights early on and even in towards the mid game. So I'm expecting that to happen at some point. In saying that, Thunderwatch over towards the more northeastern side of the map, relatively quiet. So while we may not see too much happen in round 1, by round 2, it should pick up a little bit. AD Raccoon. Now, this is a team to kind of keep an eye on. It hasn't been the best of rounds for them. After topping round 1, round 2 has not gone their way.
Yeah, look, and it feels like with some other teams in their vicinity, they could potentially run into scars soon. We've had one team fall already, Xenox. That was Zen. And here we go, V3 Vega starting to get into a fight.
Jigging on the Watson, actually yellow armor as well. Tatsu has already lost that armor. Now popping double shield bats here for One Tap and Tatsu. V3 Vega happy to play inside of these buildings, especially using those fences. Although, not the best of starts, they have actually been able to recover relatively nicely here, and I think they've got a chance to maybe fire back as well. Although, now playing inside of the building, this is a chance for V3 Vega. If they can't get any cracks here, they are starting to get low on health, low on armor as well.
The fight has taken a little bit of a lull here as the teams just take pause, but then we go straight out. A nice little perimeter security fence there is actually going to stop that push from Alliance. A very quick setup. From the stun, they'll go back inside to try and reset. But now with Tappy down completely, Alliance look to push the advantage.
Alliance have played the inside really, really well here, and V3 Vega have struggled to get inside. Then you've got Odic that have actually got a third party. Knockdown and elimination onto Tatsu, so only one left. In fact, no more. V3 Vega are out in 19th position. Really well played by Alliance. Didn't panic inside of the building. Played it well.
Yeah, as you said, some other teams in the vicinity as well, so they're worrying about teams like Odic who are looking on. Luckily, when you're playing one of these oranges, the entryways are pretty small, and you saw them take that fight really slow, right? And that meant that by the end of it, it wasn't too bloodied. They'd already done some of the reset, and it felt like Odic thought that maybe it was a little bit too risky at that point, so they do stay their guns for now, and looking further down the map, we've got Elevate, there's TSM, all of these guys pushing up the hill. They're at Stormcatcher, and that'll get them in the next couple of circles, but...
Well, a lot of teams up north as well at the moment as well. So not a lot happening for Stormpoint, which does mean we're going to end up in a position where by round 2, round 3 as well, a lot of congestion, probably a lot of fights happening all simultaneously.
I mean, this next circle is going to be a disastrous one for a lot of those teams that you were talking about further up north, right? I mean, when you look at how much playable space there is, I mean, Thunderwatch, sure, but the hill leading up to Thunderwatch, it's like a slaughter mountain.
TSM on the rotate. So already seeing a little bit of Alliance, a little bit of TSM. Both teams haven't necessarily been at their best so far here in round 2. Hopefully they can turn it around on Stormpoint. That was really the discussion coming into Stormpoint. Can those top teams that have started slow here in round 2 for this group find a way to refine some form, some momentum going into the final 3 rounds here?
TSM definitely needs to do that. I mean, they have so much pressure and expectation on their shoulders. The winner of the last 2 official Apex lands in Poland and X Games. Now, it's been a long time since then. It's been a long time between drinks. Elfish, sorry, Xenon.
Elfish, no, what?
But, you know, like, they really, really need to get that done, considering how much is on their back, with all of the fans looking up to them.
Yeah, and look, I think we got Sidoraico on our stream, perfect timing as well. This is a team that's going to be able to try and lead the charge for APAC South. We know the situation elsewhere, with Reignite. I think this is a team when it can all click, when it can all get together, Gino, can they actually be, say, the first team to maybe find victory for APAC South?
Ras or Hal. They're sort of like the 2 guys I've watched since like the start of Apex, probably like the 2 biggest idols that I have, so it's going to be great versing them. Ras mechanically is unmatched. The guy's just a different demon, and Hal, it's Hal. You know, we're talking about the CEO, the guy that's won almost everything there is to win. Expect to see everything. Every region's coming out with something weird. APAC North is bringing out Watson, Crypto, Wraith, Valk. It seems my region, APAC South, is coming in with like Caustic Gib Valk as like a pretty general meta, and then NA, they're going to be running Horizons, Ashes, so I would say expect to see everything. It's going to be fun.
Quite a lot, Gino, of course, insight there from Waltzy and for Sidoraico, a team that I think right now just needs to find a bit of confidence, but find a little bit of form as well.
Yeah, and they're trying something different here on Stormpoint, actually. They haven't played Loba really throughout the season, Xenox, but with a lot of teams taking Mill and C-Note Caves, they've actually decided to try and take the area in between that, rotate fast with the Trident, and then use the low bar to get their loot. So they're trying something new, very hard to do at this level, this quickly in a tournament that means so much to them.
You see them rotate in, still 18 squads, 54 players alive, getting towards the latter stages of round number 2 here. So as I said, all really going to look to kick off probably now around rounds 3 and 4. Over towards Parallel Camp, we got NRG, like a couple of other teams. We saw them actually in the bottom 6 of game 3, so they want to obviously try and improve on some things. We now see yet another Skyward Dive and another rotate. Not really all too surprising here on Storm Point. Where are they going to go though for NRG?
So they go onto Thunderwatch itself. I like the roof position. Honestly, the roof can carry sometimes 2, maybe even 3 teams. No, maybe 2. And they play on the left side of it. That's fantastic. You've got a lot of cover here. You can see you actually get to choose your location. You get to choose the timings that you peek the teams inside the building. You do have to worry about the other teams that are going to Valkyrie on top of you, but now that they're running the Watson, they've got the fences starting to get set up and that gen going. This is a good spot for NRG. The circle could pull more towards the cliffside sort of depot there, all the way towards the east side of Storm Point. And if it does that, it's fine. You know, Valkyrie comes up every 3 minutes. They'll have another chance to take that rotation. But if it does pull the Thunderwatch, they are loving life.
Revenant Esports had a massive game 1 on World's Edge here in round 2. It was about 13 kills, roughly about 4th place as well. So clearly showing the ability for them to be able to find kills. Maybe not all that consistent at doing so, Gino, but yet they've shown what their best is, and it's enough to mix it with the best here.
I mean, you know, we're talking about consistency. Carapace, they're 2.3 average kills, and they barely managed to get any in the last couple of games. So buoyed are their numbers by their dominant round 1 performance. Revenant, we're probably not seeing them on that list because, you know, in round 1, they did okay. I think they maybe got something like 20 or 30 points in that first round.
At the moment, they're being gate-kept a little bit by AD Raccoon, who is dead last, 20th place here in round 2, and it is continuing to go against them. Parker and Obley both down. In fact, AD Raccoon are out, 18th position. One of the best teams, if not the best team from APAC North Genome, and they are dead last after 4 games played through round 2. Massive turnaround considering they topped their lobby back in round 1.
They didn't just top their lobby, Xenox, they topped the entire competition. I think it was 79 points. They were in the first position out of all 40 teams after round 1. And here in round 2, they just failed to show up entirely.
And they were the gatekeepers there as well. You know, they were in the prime position, and it's just not going their way. We can start to see now the congregation over towards Thunderwatch as teams are making their way over there. Still quite a few over towards High Point as well, but that's only really going to be for the time being. Scars, as Taishan takes a few shots, a long distance away. We've been seeing a lot of wingman today as well, and really if you can hit your shots with that wingman, so impactful. 17 squads heading in towards round 3. You know it's going to get chaotic at this point.
Scars here, on the inside of Thunderwatch, looking up at, I imagine, what was... Alright, let's have a listen into Scars right now.
They're gonna be underneath here.
Yeah.
I have 1 barrel there, but that's it. I'm just looking behind. Be very careful.
I'm batting. I'm batting.
Disgusting head glitch for me. I'm holding this head glitch.
I think they're just sitting down there.
Right, they're popping a spinning magic.
Yeah, caustic. Down here.
Yeah.
You have a good spot.
You remember this ending?
Yeah, it's like in the open here or close
Yeah.
to us. It's like either away from us or close to us.
Yeah.
I'm winning this trade.
The only place I've not gassed is this.
Yeah, but they can't really get there.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, you know?
Yeah, you know. People want to break our doors behind us.
Let's scan the
would
beacon
suck.
again.
He's alone on the truck there.
Which shook? I see him.
Headshot him.
Little listening with Scars. Elsewhere, though, Sudaraiku, Genome, has just been eliminated, so that happening a little off-screen. Down to 16 squads left. Scars, not a bad little position right now. More sort of the western side of this circle. Not really under any immediate pressure, but always nice to get some insight.
Just having a look at this replay here as Alliance dominate Fussy. This is the Sudaraiku downing that you were just talking about, Xenox. So, fortunately, the Apex South team does go down. We've got 16 left to go. I think as the day has progressed, so has... It's kind of been the opposite in terms of, you know, how fast the game has been playing. It's definitely slowed down a little bit as teams sort of become more comfortable with their drop spots. They become more comfortable with, you know, how these lobbies are playing, because they were a little bit worried that, you know, after playing scrims and everything that they've had to try and, you know, get them into that mindset of playing this worldwide game that ALGS is all about, the global series. Now I think they're finally starting to come to terms with what that looks like. It's definitely slightly slower than it was in those first couple of games we saw as the day started.
We might have something here, though, just outside of the circle. Players have got to get this revive onto Hardeki, and will be able to do so. PKMK had a massive game back in game 2, if you recall, Genome. So the players at least having a decent round 2 so far towards the higher echelon of the leaderboard for round 2. They get that revive rather comfortably. And now we kind of finally see a bit of a fight. Team Empire pushing the issue, and they make it a quick one too. Revenant Esports, no chance at all in firing back. 15 squads remaining, and I get the feeling, I get the sense that it's finally going to start to pick up the pace. Empire, Arcstar close by, and this is where that pressure can really mount.
All right, well, they do get a brief respite there, trying to get back up. We see a couple of bats getting popped there, but is that going to be enough? Maliwan takes too much damage, and now his teammates are going to have to hold for him. Double bat going down. There seems to be teams just streaming into the area right now. That's C9 on the back there. Albraleli is the one that's pushing up and trying to do the real damage here, but he's backed up by Graceful on the back line. Finally, with Cleve and Ranches down, it looks like Empire are done for.
Yeah, they can't win out against Cloud9 in the end. They get a pretty swift victory over Team Empire. Little high ground advantage as well, utilized and able to win out. You can just see that slight overview. A lot of teams close by now. NRG in the thick of the action against Alliance, who also make it a pretty quick, clean sweep. New kill leader too. Alliance racking up the points here now as we're over to 100 Thieves. And talk about high ground advantage. The Arcstars get thrown down. Can they capitalize though on this position? Bubble goes out. 100 Thieves, though, not pushing the issue, do not want to give up this high ground advantage.
It seems like there's almost no way that they can lose this, right? This is extreme in terms of the vertical difference between the two teams and the options they have to pop up. As you can see, C9 go down very, very quickly, and they've got time. They've got time to keep going, and Valcolt out of here. Players, do they have any time left?
Hardeki, only one standing at the moment, just trying to get this bubble dance to go his way, pushes in, and Hardeki salvages it for players, taking down Elevate and can go for the revive. We'll get Leo up first, then PKMK as well following that, so that is a big play for players.
Up the top of the ring here, we've got a couple of other teams, and it's really this Thunderwatch situation where most of the teams are crowded around that, but that's absolutely not where the ring is pulling. Xenox, if you throw your mind all the way back to the orange that Alliance won that battle in, that is Godspot right now. Alliance are going to be sitting pretty in there for the longest time, and every other team now needs to make that rotation either around or over the top of this mountain in the middle.
They were united. Well, speaking of rotations, Genome perfectly timed. They make their way up and away as they try to find some safety, some salvation here. 9 squads left. Where do they go is the question. A lot of information at least will be gained. Easy Flash, he needs to, of course, get that armor back up as well. But Doom, MVP, Bastion, at least full health, full armor.
No.
Now over to Element 6, who have been impressive, to say the least, here for round 2 on top of Detonator. And they make quick work of Detonator as well with a bit of help. In fact, there's multiple teams in this scenario at the moment, Genome.
Element 6 have been so impressive today, but can they win these fights back to back to back? It seems really tough. TSM certainly can't, and no, Element 6, they'll go down to 100 Thieves. It was TSM. It looks like they actually tried to make a push into Alliance in the orange, and it didn't work out for them. I mean, look, props to them for understanding that that was the win condition, but Alliance, this time they're the better team.
And they've got one of the better positions, if not maybe the best position too. So they have a good opportunity to continue and find some points in this game.
You can see how important that spot was for players, right? They fought for that up the north side of the zone, and now they're essentially the only ones there. Alliance! I mean, who needs Loba when you've got 8 death boxes or something like that just littered around the place?
There's a couple more scattered outside too, just for good measure, in case they didn't have enough on the inside. 5 squads left now, so yeah, round 4, round 5, definitely the hectic, chaotic rounds that we probably expected after a bit of a slow start here on Storm Point, but ultimately we get towards the action, we get to the fun, and Alliance, well, they're having probably the most fun at the moment inside of the server. 12 kills to their name, into the top 5, and you can kind of see the amount of points they are starting to rack up.
Looking pretty good for them. 100 Thieves on the bottom. Dewa, they're currently just hiding around the gravity launcher, I believe. And then you've got Otic looking to finally back up that performance they had earlier in round 2. So the South American teams finally getting their mojo back after that big game, and then a couple of disappointing ones.
Well, Otic won game 3, so in fairness, they have a chance to go back-to-back. That could be a possibility too. Long way to go. Definitely don't want to be counting any team out or putting anyone in you know, the favorable position.
Dude, Alliance can barely get out of their building. There's so many death boxes in the entryway there.
Basically blocking the doorway for them. But no, massive game. They only had 14 points, by the way, Genome, into the bottom 6 teams or so coming into this game. They have been able to rack up such a huge amount of points that they're into the top 4 on the live standings here for round 2.
I mean, it's like the death boxes are giving them like a Watson, like a Loba, all of these advantages there. Of course, that comes off the back of their amazing team fighting, and we're starting to get a few more of those right now.
And now we see 100 Thieves push over. Now, Onmu's already down, not ideal, but Scurry, decent job to at least get some damage in. Vaxilon, now the only one left standing for 100 Thieves, does get the down onto Leo, but yeah, as I said, the solo player up above and has Alliance all on the inside, at least can maybe get a reprieve and get away from the sightlines of some other teams. But here comes Dewa United Esports. They want to get involved on the action. Let's add some more death boxes here to this position. Maybe for Alliance to salvage even more kills and more armor, ammunition, whatever they want. Right now, they want the kills.
It's just a graveyard at this point, and which team will be the next one to add their boxes to the pile? Otic, they've actually got some space by themselves up the top here, but with 30 seconds left until this next ring starts to close, I feel like they are going to lose that hubba very, very quickly. Meanwhile, 1,000 Thieves just down to the 1. It's the slippery Valk trying to make her way up to the top. I'm sure the Valks for the other team are going to start contesting that at some point. I mean, Valk, I think at this point, is probably the most picked in the tournament, with Gibby closely behind.
32 points now for Alliance, still inside of this orange. They have not left this position, but soon, Gino, soon they're going to have to probably make their way out. And at that point, it does kind of become a bit of a free-for-all towards the end here for our final 4 squads. Still, I think regardless of what happens from here, Alliance have had such an amazing game. It's got them right back to the top of the standings here for round 2, so they can count their blessings. It's been a big game for them, but now they make their way out of safety and into harm's way.
Yes, they have to. The ring, they're really thinking about how they can play this next part out. I think they tried to go for an EMP, and possibly the drone actually got popped there, so that's a little bit annoying from them. You often want that combo where you force someone to bubble with the Gibraltar ultimate, and then you just come in and wipe away immediately with the EMP. Doesn't work out this time, and all of a sudden, despite the 13 kills that they've got, it's all up to Yuki.
The solo player for 100 Thieves that stayed behind and is still alive, gets the double down, has been able to make such a large impact. Late round does go down eventually. Otic, Jinx finding that kill, and now but Alliance are wounded. They're having to find a way to get their players back up.
Somehow, even though the one player has played havoc with that, they've actually managed to get some of them back up alive. Dewa in a great spot, though. They're going to down them again. Bastion with the Peacekeeper coming out here from the high ground.
Could they be the first team from APAC South here to find victory? This is the best opportunity for them to do so. Full armor, full HP, and a massive chance to convert, to find victory. They take out Otic. It's only Yuki left, and he cannot stand in their way. APAC South, welcome to the ALGS playoffs.
Beautiful scenes. The guys are so happy right now. The Indonesian players today have been incredible. I mean, them and Revenant, we're seeing them put up big, big numbers. And Xenox coming into the playoffs, right? This is the number 4 and number 5 seed from APAC South, and they weren't the teams that we were expecting to stand up and do as well here at LAN. And today, it's been all Indonesian.
Isn't it ironic? I've written in my notes, APAC South, only region without a win halfway through day 1. First game that I get onto the broadcast, and APAC South find victory. You can thank me for that one, Genome, of course. Big victory for them. And like you said, they weren't exactly the team that I think many would have had eyes on for APAC South to find victory, but sometimes you can find it where you least expect it.
And look, it was a tough position for them to play for as well, right, Xenox? Because they were on the bottom side of that hill. You know, we kept talking about players. We were talking about Odic, who had the position up the top. And then there were the teams that were safe within the orange as well, like Alliance. And then, of course, you had the 100 Thieves player just running around, being a little nuisance and essentially ruining Alliance's dreams of coming out with not only a swag of kills, but the win as well. I mean, oh my God, Daewoo ended up with 11 kills.
But I mean, look, Alliance as well, 14 kills. Like I said, sort of towards the end of that game, they really did a lot of their work more towards the mid round, and you can see they walk away with 23 points. A massive drop off after the top 2 teams, though. Odic, of course, they won game 3, top 3 here for game 4. Really, really nice to see for the South Americans, and I think that's now starting to see as the day unfolds. We're seeing APAC South, we're seeing South America really come to the fray.
And then you've got a couple of teams down the bottom here who just really struggling to get started in round 2. AD Raccoon, I think, is the most disappointing one after a 79-point start. It feels like they're barely going to add to that total throughout round 2 at this point. Still 2 games, who knows? But at this point, it looks like round 2 is going to be going a different direction, I would say.
Well, we still got another couple of games, though, Genome. Of course, we don't want to close things too early. I will say, though, it's really nice to see APAC South and also South America really start to collect some points, open up that diversity that we all expected to see here for the ALGS playoffs. Now, in terms of the highlighting, Genome, this one's all for you.
Yeah, look, easy flash there. You can see he's got over 2,000 damage. And, this is exactly what we expect. I feel like he's often been one of the damage leaders in APAC South, almost regardless of, how the team is doing. He's always putting out consistent damage at long range. Look, sometimes like today, like that game, it's going to end up in a lot of kills, but he always shows up.
Now, one team that maybe hasn't been showing up, and of course, I'm a little biased being from APAC North, but AD Raccoon, 0 points once again at the bottom, Gino. You went for them too. I kind of roped you into picking them for the predictions.
I got baited.
What's going on?
It's hard to tell, isn't it? Because we haven't seen a lot of vision of them taking those early fights. I suppose there must be a disconnect there in terms of their rotations and where they're going. And this is something that is probably hard for a lot of these teams to do coming into the LAN situation is, when you play the splits, right? Split 1 and split 2, you get so familiar with how all the teams land around you and, how they're rotating. And you almost don't even need to think about it anymore. It's on autopilot. But then you come to this LAN and you don't know. And there's lots of people popping up in situations and positions that you don't expect. And they are really suffering for that.
You can see Alliance up 9 places there, moving up into the top 4 after that game. Of course, they were now leading the lobby as well with victory. We were just talking about AD Raccoon, 20th place, 3 points after, 79 points in round 1?
79.
They only got 2 more games to find some points. Otherwise, it's been quite dire. And look at the amount of teams there. Cloud9, Empire, the list goes on, NRG. The second half of that graphic, probably not the way we expected things to play out here for round 2. Genome, of course, more to come. We go to a short break. On the other side, though, more games to come. remaining here for round 2. 2 games for teams that have been struggling to maybe refine some form from round 1. We've spoken about them plenty at length. One team that did refine some form was Alliance, though, from the bottom 5 or so up into the top 4. Big turnaround for them.
Massive. I mean, tons of kills. It's hard to know whether it was, you know, a brilliant zone read or maybe just a lucky pull, but either way, they used it to almost its full advantage. You saw it, it was an onslaught for them, right? They had to fight off so many teams, evidenced by the amount of death boxes in that orange. You know, TSM at one point tried to get in there.
100 Thieves.
100 Thieves, and they, you know, mostly dealt with that until it was a little bit too late.
Most of them.
Kind of stung them in the backside.
Yeah. No, really, really good match overall. We look at Daywa United, of course, they came away with the victory. The first APAC South team to find a win here for the ALGS playoffs, so really, really good for them. Of course, we've been seeing South America really come to the forefront as well over the last couple of rounds. So I think round 2 so far has been all about showing off the versatility of our many different regions that we have here, and that's really what it's all about when you get to LAN, when you get to these international events.
It's exactly what we want to see, Xenox. Everyone getting someone to cheer for, everyone doing well. I mean, oh gosh, that's it. There's a lot of fans of a lot of big teams who,
exactly.
You know, perhaps won't be doing that right now here in round 2, but that's fine. You can spread the love around, and certainly the Indonesian team and community, I'm sure, will be getting some of that today. Really love them, honestly. Like, they're a great part of APAC South. There's a lot of big communities out there, Australia, Thailand, as well as Indonesia, and they contribute a lot of teams, and it's fantastic to see that they've made it overseas here to us with Stockholm.
All smiles, all fist bumps, all ready to go for Daywa, and yeah, leading the way now, 44 points for them here in A versus C. Can they finish strong though? That's the biggest question that we will find out shortly going into round 5 here for round 2.
And look, maybe that was the secret sauce that we just saw there. It was Salvatore, actually, a player who has very recently competed in ALGS, and he's actually come over into the coaching role now for Daywa United. And look, I saw him last night, you know, had the pen and paper out there, obviously working hard for the team, right? Trying to make sure that these guys are going to be so prepared coming into today. And look, here in round 2 seems to be paying some dividends, because Daywa on top with 44 after this 4th game. And look, we've got 2 more Storm Point left. And I don't know about what you guys saw in APAC North, Xenox, but certainly in APAC South, we saw some of the you know, less established teams actually getting ahead on Storm Point, or really, you know, it feels like it's kind of leveled the playing ground a little bit, right? Because the players that have been so established and they've really figured out World's Edge over the years that we've been playing it in the competitive circuit, all of a sudden, you know, they're kind of back to square one with some of these teams who perhaps haven't figured it out quite as much, and they can get a leg up on Storm Point.
I definitely agree with you. I think maybe towards the sort of more higher end, those teams still probably dominate, especially in APAC North. Hard to look past, you know, the likes of AD Raccoon and Crazy Raccoons as well. Reject as well being one of them, who have been really good at the event so far, and hasn't really surprised me. I mean, this is a team that has literally won a championship before back in 2021 when they were Fennel Korea. So I think this is going to be intriguing, because you're right. Maybe towards the middle section for APAC North, we do see some of those teams maybe do a little bit better on Storm Point.
Looks like we've got a bit of argy-bargy there in Cascade Falls. They were United as well as V3 Vega, kind of right on top of each other. Xena sitting around Ski Lift just outside the ring there, and everyone else, I think, is just kind of happy to be where they are. So, you know, remember, Zen went down very early last round. I'm not sure if that's because they tried to contest someone, or and now they've managed to find a fallow space to play in, like Ski Lift there. But with that very northwesterly shift of the circle, your checkpoint, your north pad team's super happy. Element 6, one of the teams we've touched on a couple of times today, who have really been showing. I mean, they only scraped in. They were the 10th place in their ALGS region to pull through Xenox. So it's
We've already seen a couple of teams, I think, do well in this particular lobby group as well. Like Detonator's a team that technically scraped in because another team couldn't make it in FA Kids, so they were 11th in Split 2, and they've been actually able to get into the top 8 so far and being quite consistent in their first couple of games. Intriguing to see if they can continue that. The V3 Vega continuing on with Watson, no surprise really with that, and obviously the Crypto too. I mean, the Watson pick rate in APAC North, it's not exactly like 100%. Maybe there's this sort of disillusion that it's like all Watson, no Gibraltar. It is closer to like 50-50. And some teams even play both at the same time. I will also say, generally, the top teams in APAC North do play the Gibraltar.
Oh, interesting little tidbit there. And yeah, because they run that similar role, right? Yeah. It's all about the defense. And you see some teams even take the Bangalore, which is why we were just so surprised earlier today when Empire managed to win a game without Watson, Gibraltar, or Bangalore. It's a super, super rare occurrence in competitive Apex to run a composition like that, let alone to be winning at this kind of level. And speak of the devil, there are Empire coming down from Shipfall, and ooh, actually TSM. We've just switched onto a team on the other side of them.
I mean, I think even just talking about Empire for a brief second, of course, second place, there's where they finished back in round 1. Currently, round 2 has not been as friendly for them. Now, it's not like bottom 5 territory, but it's close to it, 15th position. So I think this is a team that continues to impress back in round 1, but has dropped off a little bit in round 2. Like many around them, TSM, of course, on our screens too, in 14th position, only 1 point above Empire. Cloud9 in 13th, NRG in 17th, and obviously AD Raccoon in 20th. So a lot of top teams, especially ones that performed really, really well in round 1, they, of course, haven't been able to do so well in round 2.
Well, why don't we see what TSM are thinking right now, Xenox?
Ping a better backpack if you find.
I need you to bubble this beacon later. Okay. I can't scan it with the shipball team being there.
I'm gonna upgrade my shit to the purple, I guess. I can't do anything else.
There's a lot of closed bins over here. That whole side might be unlooted.
I'm gonna upgrade too.
2 times here.
I can grab 1 more crafter and make bats too.
I don't have room. I don't have room.
I can hold 2 bats.
I have a purple backpack.
I can craft a battery for you.
I can hold 2
I
bats.
can carry. I have a purple
crafted a
backpack.
bat. I'm gonna go up to you in a second, Evan.
Alright, you should come down, Evan, so we can go grab the mats.
Okay, I'm coming.
All right, so TSM just taking things slow right now. They've rotated over to Barometer, and you can see they're happy with that. The Crafter, the Replicator is there. And another team, similar kind of vibe, similar kind of play style here is going to be Revenant Esports. They're just pooning around in the Trident right now, trying to get their armors up before they take on anyone else. And that really, really plays into their play styles. Xenox. These guys are known as absolute, just like, balls to the walls kind of, aggressive players. And someone like Belkin, he just thrives under pressure. He's someone who, you throw him in the deep end and he just absolutely smashes it. That's why they're good in those big kill games today.
Yeah. In fairness, you could probably say that for the majority, if not all of the teams here. I think if you're making it to the ALGS playoffs, you can thrive under pressure. You will swim. You won't sink. So, and look, I agree though. I think for APAC South, it's a region that at times can be very top heavy. And if you're not one of the top teams, it can be very difficult. And they've been able to at least get into the top 5 and deal with that. Those teams like Sudaraku and Reignite, they're contesting, right? They're up there with them. Good to see. For Otic, of course, this has been a tremendous here in round 2. 34 points into the top 6 and have been generally playing really, really well. So I think this is a sign of things to come maybe for South America. Don't sleep on them.
Perhaps, we've got the all 20 squads left. No one's been taken out yet, Xenox, so anything could happen from this point in Game 5. And I've got to say, it's getting pretty squished up there in North Pad. And we've had a look at basically the only 3 teams that aren't very near to that at the moment. It's TSM, it's Revenant, and it's Cloud9. So these guys are all outside the circle. I think TSM just Valcolted in. But yeah, these other guys really taking their time to move all the way in.
We heard from TSM before. Let's go and have a listen in with Cloud9.
Your purple, grab the purple. You have the
the
meds, you
beacon?
got beacon?
I don't even know where the beacon is.
Bro, all the way on
Sorry.
top of command. You're gonna go up there and hit
what the fuck? Alright. Well, I need medkits before I do that. I'm so
it.
confused.
Okay. Yeah, I asked if you had medkits.
Yeah. No, sorry. I was
Yeah,
confused.
come grab a medkit. I made you one.
Alright, ping me a car if we see. Give me 2.
Here, go ahead.
Where are
They're on
they?
there. They're on the crafters.
bug,
On the
bro.
crafters. Go.
Alright, very well.
Yep. You go hit that.
I'm going to cannon, right? Or just can I fly up? I think I can.
I think you can fly
Do
up.
you need bomb for it or no?
No.
You should be fine.
I'm gonna cannon it.
Do what you gotta do.
It works too with the timing in case there's a team up there. They're just gonna hit it and leave.
How many meds do we want to leave with?
I'm not gonna have any medkits. I need 2
We
extra
only need
medkits on the
we
floor,
only need
okay?
like 4, carry 4, Grace. Carry 4, I'll carry 2.
Grace, I'm gonna need
If
2.
you have the room.
I'm gonna need 2, okay?
Yeah, I'll make 3, bro.
Yeah, thank you.
You have the room for 4? If not, I can do it.
I do. There's 2x and 1x inside the house if anybody wants.
Hitting beacon as we speak.
Like, I'm pretty sure it just pulls to the north path leg. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that guy.
Yeah, I mean, this is fine.
Alright, minute 45 and we're gonna be on slow side. Remember
Alright,
that
our car's
balcony we can
outside.
do on the wall?
Where's that car? Where's that car?
Give me kits.
On
I'm
the
gonna
door,
throw my
right?
armor on once.
I'm
Get the
gonna
car.
throw on 2 more kits. You need to do the armor.
I'm holding 4.
But no, dude, I told you there's a purple here, bro.
Yeah,
Oh.
Nutty, grab the armor.
An extra
Grab the
one?
armor. Grab the armor. Grab the medkits.
Well, there's a masterclass in how to play outside the circle, Xenox, and Dewa looks like they're giving Alliance a masterclass at the same time.
Wow, and yeah, I mean, our winners from the last game, and Alliance, of course, the top team from the last game, renewing pleasantries here for match number 5, and Alliance go out in last place after really turning things around in that 4th match. They go out far too easily, and Day United Esports, 27 points now, really topping this group.
And this is a sick position as well, Xenox. I mean, we'll see where the ring pulls, but generally with these outer map rings for Storm Point, you see them just pull and pull and pull in the same direction. So we are expecting this to keep going north and probably hit somewhere at the end of Launchpad, maybe even around the water. You know, we'll probably get some map vision at some point. There you go. As we said, just keeps going northwest, right? And that means this big building here is actually fantastic for holding at least a couple more minutes. And Dewa, not only that, they've got all the loot in there as well. I mean, there's a drone buzzing around annoying them, but they don't even care. They take some shield damage. There's probably heaps of shield left in there.
Team Empire, though, well, they're getting into a fight now with Odyx, so that goes down early. But so does Cleve, so it's a 1-for-1. Now, Ranches has to pop that shield back to get the blue armor back up to full. Malawan is getting a little bit frustrated here and pushes out. That's the first shot, then the second, and Odyx are eliminated. So some of our teams that have been doing well in matches 3 and 4 out early, Odyx and Alliance. Big result, though, for Team Empire, a team that has struggled thus far here in round 2. Could this be their game? Could this be the game maybe for AD Raccoon as well? Grompu gets the first knock on the Ranches. Now Cleve is down too, courtesy of Obley. So AD Raccoon really in an opportunity to wipe out Team Empire, and they do so. Is this the resurgence for the #1 team from APAC North?
Well, with 3 kills there, Xenox, I think they've doubled their total for round 2 so far. So, I mean, look, resurgence, well, you know, I guess that's all relative, isn't it? At this point, it's a good start, though, with 17 teams left. I'm sure there's going to be a couple more, perhaps, that they can put on the floor if they can find that form from earlier today. And Dewa, wow, here's that clutch there from Doom MVP.
The MVP into that case there. 80 Raccoon up to 6 points. You weren't wrong, you know, they really did basically double the points that they've tallied so far here for round 2, but this could be where it turns around for them. 30 seconds until round 3. V3 Vega now on our screen says Zen are taken out early too by Cloud9. 16 squads left, and a stark difference to what we saw in round 3, Jen, where things were a little bit slow going early on. This very northwestern pull of the circle has created a lot of fights for us early on.
a few more this time. I mean, 16 going into round 3. You know, maybe just a tad quicker, but certainly the lobbies are feeling more like, I would have to say, not what I'm used to, right? Maybe what you're used to, because certainly if we compare the pace of the regions around the world, you know, EMEA, APAC North, they tended to be a little bit slower. APAC South was actually one of the more fast, consistent paces where, you know, you have fights throughout it, because it kind of depends on how many edge teams there are. And, well, called it.
Nexus continues to keep pulling as far north as it can, right on top of NRG. Zombu is going to just pop this med kit. May as well stay at full health while you possibly can here for 100 Thieves. Into the top 5 now here for round 2. Final 2 matches here for the round as well. So big couple of games needed. Scars only the 10 points, Genome. A little disappointing so far. But again, this is seemingly the game of redemptions for a couple of teams so far. Could they also join the likes of AD Raccoon and start to find some form and momentum to close out this second round?
Unfortunately, one of those teams that have been forced into a situation where they're having to use a sub here. Why don't we see what the Scars spirits are like here and head on to a listen in with them.
Yeah. That's how I gotta go, yeah. Shot from my right.
Oh, here.
They're tipping, other tipping.
Tipping away?
Yeah,
okay,
tipping away.
Good.
Careful here, Alpha.
Yeah, I know. I think we can maybe play in here. If you come to me now.
Coming here now.
Come right here.
Coming into me.
If it's not good, we're gonna turn around. Yeah, on my ping right here.
Yeah.
Oh, is the water below here empty?
There's no scans yet.
There's no team here. We grab this.
Okay.
Chill. Yeah, we gas that shit.
I wanna get...
We get crypto ulted, it's fine.
Yeah, I'm gassing this though. I'm batting.
We're good.
Angle here.
Yeah, there's angles everywhere, but...
Look, better on my side here, look.
I can see if we can get inside. I can siege it.
Yeah?
Yeah, no. Just wait for me.
Nah, there's someone bottom floor. I saw someone bottom floor.
They're not looking though.
I think we just hold hands here, boys, to be honest.
Let me see.
I hold.
We can walk in, maybe. Yeah, I think we can walk in.
Come to me.
I'm here.
Guy on the door. He has no idea. 1 HP.
Nice,
no.
Finish him. Kill the Ash.
They're nading us.
Armor swap, Barbarian.
I can't. He's low. Ash is low. Nade the other side. It bounced off his fucking thing.
Play on me, boys.
Yeah, go deep.
Look at me.
I'm gassing someone behind us.
Come to me.
Come here,
Okay, I'm coming.
Ash is right here.
Right here, on me.
45, 90.
Good on me.
90 on Ash.
Heal up, boys.
I need medkit.
I don't have. I have Phoenix.
I have to medkit. I have to syringe. They're trading below.
Yeah, I gassed it off. Maybe.
Ash on me.
You're alone.
Chill, man.
She's one.
I'm holding the stone.
1 HP on me. Got him. Full dead.
Yeah.
I got armor swap.
Come up. Up the zip. No mind.
I'm up the stairs. I need the Phoenix.
Yeah, I'm defending you.
I got him.
I'm defending. I'm siege. Let me fucking barrel up.
Yeah. Good. I got that kill, boys.
Yeah. We got a good spot.
Don't overextend now, please.
Yeah, I just kind of want to loot him. He's right below me.
There's a team above us up here. Don't look up.
I know.
Extremely tense moments there with Scars coming out ahead, getting a really decent position as things really kick off. TSM now also out. We saw Cloud9 get eliminated as well as players, some big teams not able to really make their way inside of Northpad and really feeling the pressure.
And we talked about how Daewoo had a fantastic position, but they gave it up. You saw that Scars was just like, oh, I think we can walk in here, and then they just catch the back of the Valkyrie of Easy Flash, just completely unawares. I bet there's a couple of audio pleasers or something there for those guys, but really, you know, it was just up to them leaving their position where they had it locked inside.
Well, time for AD Raccoon to now also make their way over to North Pad, up to 9 points now. Big resurgence for them here in match number 5. 11 squads remaining. 32 players alive. NRG out towards the very tippity top of this one. Let's go and have a little bit of a replay. Of course, we mentioned Cloud9 before they did get eliminated. They actually did take out players, so a big little contingency of teams getting eliminated in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, with the bubble reset there for Cloud9, but look, I guess it wasn't enough for them overall. NRG, as you can see, only 11 points to their name at this point, definitely struggling down the bottom. Now, you know, we kept talking about it shifting further and further north.
Yep.
It will get most of the way there. You can see it's starting to cut into those launch pads there on the top left of your screen. And then teams who are up the top, NRG, you've got Reject there playing well, but then of course the team on the catwalk, aptly named Elevate.
And so far, aptly, it's all been about APAC and South America. It continues to be so here for match 5. Elevate up top. We've got a lot of the APAC North teams alive. Same with Sudaraku from APAC South, as Park is actually going to go down to the defensive bombardment of Minsayong. And so Reject are now going to renew rivalries with the team from APAC North, AD Raccoon. They're going to get Parker back up. Obley doesn't have that bubble available anymore. 30-second cooldown on that one, so it does need to be a little bit careful here. And Parker is gone for good. Grompu and Obley now the last two alive for AD Raccoon, as Nilash now is the last one up for Elevate. This high ground position has been taken away from them. They've lost out. They're gone.
Element 6, they push up, and it looks like it was probably with their, 6% on the ultimate there. You can see Swinny went there with the gas grenade, and that's helped push Elevate out of that top position. But now it's V3 Faker coming in off the top. So a lot of shifting around in positioning there. I mean, it felt a bit fitting that AD Raccoon got a taste of their own medicine there with the crypto ult eliminating their, not only their crypto, but their bubble as well. That was from Team Reject.
Yeah, well, they do still have 2 alive. 9 squads now remaining here into the 5th round. V3 Vega have this high ground. They have a couple of death boxes as well to loot up, so they're in a great position to maybe close out this particular match. You can see NRG, though, Gina, right out towards the more outer side here of North Pad. Can they have a way to impact in the late round? Maybe come in late, try and clean up, try and third party a team fight.
It's a position where I feel like you're a little bit at the mercy of some other players, but it looks like someone is going in. No mercy right now from Element 6. They want their spot back.
Yeah, they were up here before. V3 Vega took it away from them. They just walked in, put a couple of fences down, but it has not been able to deter Element 6. They made their way right back up. Now Slayers is down, but Nags and Swinny, fortunately, are winning this fight and winning it pretty comfortably. Still just about full armor, and they should be able to deal with V3 Vega, and they do. They get the revive, and now they can regain this high ground advantage.
For the second time, you've got the death box blockade happening here up on the catwalk. Element 6 just looking down, trying to work out what's happening. Reject on the top side here. It looks like they're getting into it with ADR again. Of course, this time it's going to be a little bit easier.
It was a 3 versus 2. In fairness there, as AD Raccoon do bow out in 6th place. Not too bad, much better than what we've seen from them in the first 4 matches here for round 2. So a decent performance. But Detonator, how impressive have they been?
So we haven't talked much about Straiku here, but they've actually managed to make their way into this final circle here. They're well down the bottom, so they don't have the vantage point. They're not looking at all the rest of these teams. Xenox, they're just kind of trying to wait for their moment at the end, but in the last 5 squads, it's not a bad spot to be.
It feels like Sudaraku haven't really been getting into too many engagements so far here at the playoffs.
Unusual for them.
Right. Well, maybe this could be an opportunity for them to sort of make their way out of the hidey hole towards the latter portion of this particular match and see if they can find some kills to find a victory and maybe make it back-to-back victories for APAC South. NRG, though, I mean, they look like they are going to be in a great place to find victory. Channeling their inner APAC North with Watson as Yudu is down. Same with YL. Element 6 just continue to be so consistent in these matches here for round 2. Cleaning house. They get the double knocked out now. Detonator, not out just yet, but down to 1 player.
So NRG, you can see fenced up all along this north pad here. That's allowed them to create a lot of space for themselves. It's been hard for teams to get in on them. You see, as soon as they try, goodbye, Detonator. And now we are down to 4 reject. NRG, we've got Element 6 as well as Storaiku left alive.
NRG right now are playing a great game. They've been able to really pick their fights, choose really who they want to try and take out on the outer edge here of North Pad. Element 6 starting to just feel that pinch a little bit here. A couple of death boxes that they can still loot up. There's a nice fresh red armor too. No crack from that one, but still good damage. NRG really able to control this northern side with those fences too. Again, it's almost like they're just trying to be an APAC North team.
But now, Element 6, they lose their high ground and they're starting to lose players. Them and Reject. Okay, the missile swarm from Waltz is going to finish off 2 of the Reject players.
It's a 3 versus 3. NRG now versus Sudaraku. Can they find victory? Sweet. He's going to go down. It's Waltzy that finds the first one. So now NRG at a disadvantage with only the 2 players up. Can they find a way to find victory against Sudaraku? They get the knockdown onto Bullet L. So Nathan is the last one up now for NRG. Trying to clutch up big in a 1 versus 2. Trying to use these shields. Now outside of the circle. No, it's back to back for APAC South. Sudaraku find success, they find victory.
Waltzy looks more relieved than anything. I mean, oh yeah, look, give us the flex, Waltzy. Loving it. Oh man, I mean, you know, we talked about them not taking too many engagements, Xenox, but that's fine. If you're gonna take the engagements when it matters, you pull away the 12 placement points, grab a couple of KP. On top of that, and everyone's happy.
They just look relieved more than excited, don't they? But still, big performance. They've been a little bit slow going in the kill department, but they've been able to sort of find a little consistency so far today and just sticking around, being always involved, whether that's making it towards the latter portions of games. But this is a chance for them to now really kick on. I think this win might just feel like, hey, we can do really good things here. We've got that confidence now.
And there's probably a question about that somewhere in their head, Xenox, because as I touched on earlier in the day, this is actually a team who's not used to playing like that. We talk about them running away from engagements. Usually this is the team that runs towards it. I mean, of those teams that have that very aggressive, sometimes edge play style, Storaiku was the most successful out of any of those in the APAC South region.
Big turnaround as well for NRG. Really want to touch on that one. They had a really great game, just couldn't quite come away with the victory. A lot of points, 17 in fact. So, you know, 9 placement points, 8 kill points. Really, really good parity for them, and they needed it because they were a little slow going and the points going into match number 5 here. Sudaraku too, 19 points in total, really making the most of that particular game. Nice spread of points too. I mean, Element 6 have got 13 from this one, Detonator with 11, Reject with 9. You know, we saw a little resurgence from AD Raccoon. They picked up 8 points. Might be a little too late here for round 2, but still the points all add up. And remember, they had that big round 1 anyway, so they're still looking pretty good.
Well, if we think about the stakes for today, Xenox, remember, you kind of only need to be in that top 20.
Yeah.
And with the 80 points that they're bringing in from round 1, honestly, a mediocre effort here from AD Raccoon will probably put them in a fantastic position to close out the day in that winner's bracket.
A lot of these teams actually towards the other side of the graphic, kind of cannibalizing each other. We saw Cloud9 and players, and then we saw TSM and Cloud9. They were United, of course, winning match number 4. They did bow out a little bit earlier here in match 5, but still 4 points to their name. APAC South really turning things around at the moment, because I'm going to be completely honest with you, Gino. We were sitting in the green room, and I was saying we're halfway through, and APAC South haven't quite shown up. Now, they certainly have.
They were always going to. I never doubted them, Xenox and Storaiku. A team you definitely shouldn't take your eyes off. Waltzy with the 6 kills. I mean, look, when there's someone who stands up in the fights for Storaiku, I've got to say, pretty often it's that man there on the roller in the middle.
Yeah, and obviously I think this is a team that when you have a look at all 3 of those players, they can all frag out. They can all have big games, and they can all have good games and really be impactful. You know, Fossey with 5 assists really showing up there too. Always make sure you give credit to those that are assisting and helping out. Big win for Sudaraku. 2 games now in a row for APAC South, and a big turnaround, as we can see on the overall standings here for Group A versus C.
Yeah, and I was thinking about Detonator. You know, 39 points there. They had an okay game 5, but you know, they had some points already in the bank, so that helps them get up to 3rd place. Wow, they got like 11 points and they went up 5 spots. That's kind of wild. Anyway,
well, it's pretty congested, isn't it?
It is, and it's again we're seeing this a lot today, and yeah, I think it just, I'm gonna keep saying it. It just speaks to how well these lobbies are, you know, the skill level. It's just so even between all of these teams.
Yeah, that certainly is. That's what we like to see as well. And of course, Sudorogo up 8 places with that win. That gets them into the proper side of the graphic. In terms of this side of the graphic, where you probably don't want to be, you can see NRG up 5 places. They were in the bottom 2 going into the last 2 matches. They picked up some big points, much needed points, and that's been able to kind of keep them in a good position. If they have another really good game in match 6, they could end up with some decent points here from round 2.
Well, Sweet is someone who's known as a really, you know, a great IGL, but also someone who, you know, doesn't necessarily crumble, right? Like, I think even though they might have started out the series in a less than optimal fashion, Sweet's probably going to be someone who's just keeping the vibes good and keeping the team ready to make that comeback at any point.
Yeah, well, we'll be coming back very shortly. Of course, one more game here for round 2. For now, we go to a break. Exciting round 2 here for the ALGS playoffs. It's all APAC South apparently at the moment. 2 wins in a row for the lovely region down under, Gino, which is what you've got a big smile on your face. Of course, one more round to go though, so we've got still an opportunity for teams to find some points. And then after that, we still have round 3, so a lot more Apex to come.
Plenty more Apex to come, don't you worry, guys. It's a massive day, it's a massive weekend, and it should be because there's $1 million on the line, Xenox. You got to remember that. Even apart from that, you got playoff points. You know, getting these teams towards the championship. You know, I've done some points predictions.
Have you?
You know, about how these teams would work. You know, going into the finals. You know, later in the year when we do finally get that championship to cap it all off, that amazing event. And if you make the top 20, you are guaranteed 70 points, and that is almost enough probably to get you to that championship.
Wow.
So the teams that we see on day 3 actually quite likely to be there with us in champs.
Take that, of course, with the caution of warning there for Professor Genome and his calculations. Is there an asterisk to it, or you back it in 100%?
Oh no, yeah, that's not guaranteed by any means, but it will be somewhere around. I think 70 to 75 points is what I'm expecting. Yeah.
Anything that you're expecting here going into our final match for round 2? We've been able to see quite a lot of diversity when it comes to our winners so far here through matches 1 to 6 of round 2. Do you have anything here on your mind going into the final round? Anything you want to see?
I think I want to see. I mean, it's Storm Point, right? Look, we saw, I think maybe, what was that, 3 or 4 teams playing a little bit of edge in that last game. Yeah, look, personally, I like it when we get more doing that.
Right.
Frankly, it makes for a fun game, makes for a fun early game in Apex, which, you know, as we were talking about, sometimes can take a little while to kick off, right? And the interesting thing is, because this is essentially like an 18-game sort of series day, because all of the points are added together at the end, we're not necessarily getting, you know, that period at the end where people are like, oh, I need to do it all right now. We'll get that in round 3, but...
Well, we have a little bit of a comparison here with Nax and Easy Flash Kids from Denver United Esports. Pretty close when it comes to the average damage, but in terms of the kills, Genome, there is a little bit more of a discrepancy between the two.
Yeah, and this is something we touched on before, right? When we had that champion screen up and we were looking at Easy Flash. This guy does pump out huge damage numbers. Are his teammates always able to capitalize on that? No, but you've got to think that also gives you other advantages. That means, you know, you're getting your armors up faster. That means you might be making more space for your team because, you know, everyone else that's coming into you is taking that pepper and having to worry about that and probably not going to want to sit in your vicinity.
Let's head into match 6, our final match now for round 2. After this, of course, we'll have a break and we'll go in for round 3 later on. Still a big game to play out here for Group A versus C. This is where it all comes to a head. Who can finish strong here and close out round number 2?
Well, it looks like Straiku, you know, just getting into it, but it's with the spikes. You know?
Did you want to quickly go over the name for Sudoraiku? Because you're saying Straiku, I'm saying Sudoraiku, others are saying Sudoraiku.
I'm saying it's a fake word.
Do you want to let everyone in on the naming
I have
here?
looked into it. Apparently, it's just the word strike, and then the Japanese, the Japanese language has reclaimed it and changed it into a more Japanese-sounding word with Straiku. So that's why, honestly, I'm not as worried about going into that pronunciation because, let's be real, we could just be saying strike and it'd be the same thing. But look, that's what they've gone with, and you know, all respect to them. And look, winning the last game, that's also seemingly giving them control over Sino Cave. And we've got to remember, right, they're not always getting this drop location, Xenox. A lot of the times, other players, they're either taking Mill, they're taking Sino Cave, and Straiku, who like to rotate from this southwest position, sometimes also grab a Trident. You can see bullets near one on that island as well. They'll usually take that, sometimes get the beacon there and sort of budget Mill, you know, the below where the mill is, and at that point they have to play Loba. So they're changing their whole composition just to suit the drop spot, depending on what other teams are actually playing around them.
Interesting. Of course, match 5, we went over to North Pad. Well, for match 6, we're going up north to the wall. Speaking of the wall, we saw it a little bit all the way back. Genome, if you remember at the very beginning of the day, when we started out on Storm Point, it was GMT and Fennel that kept fighting over the wall, and Fennel generally won out. I think that was for games 2 and 3 to start the day. So they got a pretty decent circle to start with here. Detonator as well. All the way very far up to the north. Same with V3 Vega. I promise. I'm not being biased here that the 3 APAC North teams are inside of this circle early on.
Yeah, they've headed up there very quickly. You can see other teams making rotations now. Hardeki for players. He's over there in the Trident, just zooming around the top side of the map. Someone who certainly isn't doing that, of course, is Sudraiku. So they are down the bottom in C-Note, and it looks like they've finally had their fill of loot. They also get the crypto to go along with that, as we noted, not the Loba this time, as you might see. But that is the difference between when they play those two heroes. It depends on the POI they start in.
So our final match of round 2. So far, game number 4. Well, match number 4, I guess you could say, was a little slow going to start with, and then I feel like it did speed up a bit in match 5. Teams really starting to feel a little bit more comfortable. You could probably put it down to also the circle really pulling over to North Pad, which did alter a lot of rotations. That might actually play out again here for match number 6.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very Northern Circle, right? I mean, it's a little bit harder to get into these Northern Circles than it is to get into North Pad, but looks the Riker were thinking about how to get in there as well. Let's hear what they got to say.
Start off really good. We won the first week. We were like very surprised. We were sort of hoping for like a top 10 finish, and kind of progressed, and managed to like sort of hold a top 5. Stormpoint, because it's so new, people make mistakes. We know the zones fairly well, so yeah, I feel like that's definitely our strongest map. I think my team had like an average placement of around, I think, 3 or 4. We never really fell out of sort of top 5. It's a new map, but I feel like we know how to play it. World's Edge, everyone knows how to play it. It's a lot tougher.
And he's not wrong, Xenox. They were actually the best performing team on Storm Point in the entirety of APAC South. They absolutely smashed it. They had like an average placement of, I can't remember, it was like 3 or 4 or something like that. The placement points they got out of it were nuts, especially considering they are usually an aggressive team. Maybe not here at LAN.
How would you... Oh, well, hang on. I was going to ask you a question there, but let's go over to Odic and Alliance, who are having a bit of an early scrap, and it's worst who's come out worst. Alliance finding that down and that elimination to follow too. Now, of course, they did go out early in the last match, but prior to that, match number 4 was Alliance's big redemption match. They picked up a big chunk of points, has them high up in the standings here for round 2, although Jinx has actually been able to get the down onto Hakass, and now they've got to get this revive on the other side of the pillbox.
Oh, but they stop it. The Arc Star means they have to play behind the knockdown shield for a second, just giving more and more time for Odic to turn this around. Of course, they can't get the res worse completely out, but you can see, wow, the gas grenade there for Jinx coming out and doing some decent damage. It actually downs Hakass. Are you kidding me? Wow, I can't believe that he couldn't get out of that in time. I guess it must have been, you know, some other things contributing to that as well. Actually, no, wait. He was probably the one who just got knocked.
Yep. And that was a big factor for that. Still a lot committed there.
Well, why don't we have a listening with Alliance and see how they play this fight?
Team. Come to me, guys. Just go inside, I'm getting thirsted.
I'm my fire.
Minus 60 on Valk.
I'm getting burnt, man.
They're all here, dude. Who the fuck is this team? Like, what?
I'm just trying to crawl away, okay?
They're trying rat Tuki, get out. Slide down. Just slide all the way down. Slide all the way down. You go left.
No. Can't just spin and.
Pretty sure you can fly up and play above this area, like on these banners.
You reckon gay banner?
I don't think so. Fuck it. I think you just rat.
What did you guys
go
die?
on your right side. We're low ground, right, but you can't rest us. Just fuck it. Just fly up here. You can fly up. Up above that. You can fly up there, I'm pretty sure. You get inside the thing. Like in the end here, yeah.
Illegal.
This is good. You're not sliding, right?
No.
No, then you're legal. Just care, they can pick you. You can go a little bit further back a little bit.
Well, not the best situation there for Alliance Genome, and right now here in round 2, consistency has unfortunately eluded them a little bit. They finished second to start round 2. They had another second place 14 kill performance, but outside of that, 13th, 19th, 20th, and now in a position where they have one just left alive here for match number 6. So Alliance, well, consistency has not been key for them.
Yeah. Who is this team?
Who is this team?
Oh, they're so annoyed at 100 Thieves that was turning up there at the end and contributing even more to their woes that started as Odic pushed them there in high point. Well, as usual, this circle continues to just go further and further north. And as you said, yeah, look, a lot of the teams from APAC North have made their way up there. Straiku, we saw they're part of their rotation, and that is usually, you know, what they do. So they'll come all the way around for one of these northern circles in the Trident, and then eventually use their Valkol to try and make their way a little bit further up to this position where, yeah, we pretty much exactly where we see NRG right now, who are just on the other side of them. In fact, I think they might actually be, oof, if one of them decides to send it at least, they could be having a fight with Straiku pretty soon.
Well, round one coming to a close, heading into our second round now. NRG, of course, had a massive game back in match number 5, looking to repeat that as they look to finish strong here for round number 2. Now round 2 as well in game, and it does continue to pull up to the northern side, which has a lot of those APAC North teams, like you mentioned. So we'll see how that plays out. Yuki's just sitting and will be sitting for probably a little while. It's a little lonely there for Yuki, for Alliance. Probably not the way that they were looking to close out round 2, Gino, but sometimes these things happen.
But I tell you what, he's sent a circle and he's got a lot of cover. I'm not sure if teams will be able to see him there at all. And you got to remember, this isn't the scan meta. Maybe there's like a crypto drone, but I feel like the crypto drone usually needs line of sight to spot you out, right? So it might actually be even hard for the crypto drone. If you're a bloodhound, it might be a little bit easier, but we're not seeing many of them be run at the moment. So as this next circle comes up, you can see Yuki right in the middle there in that mustard yellow.
You can see all of the teams there with the expanded minimap and how many teams already, but mostly playing rather the edge side of this next circle.
They are, and it's going to be fun, Xenox, as we see some good shots come out from this charge Sentinel here. Rocket trying to drop someone out of the sky, doesn't quite succeed, but hey, still time to pick that armor up. Look, in the meantime, you know, we've got, yeah, all those teams just really pushing north. And eventually, I think it's going to be pretty tough for them to get through the choke points, right? Because, you know, when we looked at Yuki,
always the gold spot. Sometimes those teams pushing in have been able to win out those fights, so it's never going to be a given. Nothing is a given here at the ALGS playoffs. You need to be at your best regardless of your positions here, as we see Hardeki, well, just sort of lingering.
yeah, the players, they're really just playing this slowly. They're playing it silently. You can see them just crouch walking across, trying to make a rat play here, and they might get the better of someone like Fennel or NRG, who are just below them.
If you have a quick little glance at the minimap, you can start to count the amount of drones that are circling around the vicinity up north, and how much information that's really going to be in play. You know, we talk about the crypto genome and how, you know, if there's only 1, 2, 3 couple of teams really playing the crypto, they get so much information, so much value out of the legend. But if you have, say, maybe around 10 cryptos in the lobby, it starts to really sort of diminish those values as players. Leo gets a freebie down onto Nathan of NRG. This one really kicking off as well, and that's Rocket that falls. Players can push on this.
I'm surprised, yeah, that they aren't actually getting onto it a little bit quicker here. I guess they're just, you know, worrying about some of the teams around.
You don't really need to eliminate them, right? Damage done, 2 downs, 2 eliminations. Nicely executed by players. Third at the moment here in round 2.
Well, it was exactly the right play we were talking about, right? And they just waited, they were patient, and look, the kills came straight to them.
Have a look at TSM. Well, where are they going to go now as well? There's so many teams already up to the north. If they find a choke point to just sort of hold out, currently 19th place, Genome. Not where you would expect to see a TSM roster. They need to finish strong here, need to get the points. Are they going to be, you know, at a vulnerable position by the end of round 3? Who knows? You don't want to be in that conversation. You want to be inside of that top 20 and have a lot of points next to your name.
They need to give themselves an opportunity to keep pushing up to do better there, and they're going to be one of the first teams to actually take up position inside that cave. It looks like Scars were actually thinking about it a little bit as well. RPR, he's currently just watching there, but AD Raccoon, looks like there's too many teams from the north suddenly pushing into them, and it feels like they've just left Is Obley just been left
Yeah,
for dead?
Obley's
Yeah, you
down.
can see him crawling in the middle of the screen
That's the Gibraltar down for AD Raccoon, so they're going to lose a lot of defenses from that, and they can't salvage this. They have to leave him behind. As you said, crawling, literally crawling away. Elevate, they have got Sleep, who needs to probably pop a couple of cells and get that armor back up. Triple purple for them. 20 squads still, by the way, so obviously a couple of solo players. We saw Yuki before, as it's going to be Ben getting that elimination onto Obley, confirmed at least. Another kill for Elevate. AD Raccoon now. It's only Parker and Grompo, who just gets cracked immediately. Only blue armor, a little bit of health gone too. Pops the shield bat. And we're seeing the kill feed as well. Not looking good for Revenant. So while we haven't had any squads eliminated yet, Gino, the number of players actually in the lobby is starting to dwindle down.
It keeps dropping. Cloud9 in the gas right now. Looks like it's their own, and Revenant, well, Mectrus, he's on his own, and
another solo.
Use the Skyward dive to find his way out. Yeah, they were fighting outside the ring. Actually, they were fighting all the way over at Thunderwatch, Xenox.
Right.
And yeah, unfortunately, just had to leave his teammates.
What's happened here?
Unfortunately, he's going to run into Reject. Dogma almost loses the 1v1.
Oh, they gotta save him though. Please don't just let him get eliminated that easily for free. They do deal with Mectrus in the end, courtesy of Jungi, but yeah, that was probably not something Reject would have been expecting. And here come Empire as well to just spoil the party. Reject were just walking along, and now their game might be over at the hands of Empire.
Yeah, they're coming in off the back of that. I think they kind of, it looks like they EMP'd themselves, honestly. I'm not even sure, but Empire easily are going to win that fight. But all of a sudden, there's still, I mean, you know, they've still got to make it into the circles. You know, 30 seconds, they've got to run through TSM, they've got to run through Cloud9. All these teams in front of them are still going to pose somewhat of a problem.
I think you're going to just try and at this point get out of this position. Alvarelli going to go down to the house here for TSM. Can they get some kills here? Can they find victory in what's going to be a bit of a choke point? There's a couple teams in this area too. It's not going to be easy. Now Reps gets off a full shield back up to full armor. Imperial Howl is getting involved in the action too. That's what you like to see if you're a TSM fan, and they will be able to win out rather convincingly in the end. But there's more to come. You can see the shots firing in their direction. TSM, they cannot rest on their laurels.
There's no time for that at all. Now that they push into the cave. Okay, let's see what their next move is with a TSM listen in.
Fucked. No, we don't want another team. We want only us and another team. That's what we want. I have 0 nades now.
Are we safe in this corner?
Play on the. We got to play the right. There's the Gibbies. You guys walk up to the right.
Yeah,
walking up now. Walking up now.
You might have to bump me to cross run. Like this guy is just solo shooting me. Like, what the fuck?
Gibby 3 times.
I'm popping cells.
We should just kill this team, no?
Oh, just wait. There's another team. I'm pretty sure west. There was another team west side. Unless they were split holding. I'm slow healing right now. I have only one back, no nades.
They haven't peeked the right side at all.
Okay, good. There was a Valkyrie that was over here earlier.
There's a Gibby on the rock. Gibby on the rock. I have 2 bats.
I have one bat.
Is it possible to take this height? Like,
yeah,
I don't know where
you can 100% walk up on this. I just saw
I think they're split holding. I think it's only one team. I might be only one team.
We're walking up.
I have nasty angles here on me.
Evan and I are taking an angle on the right side.
Give me 6 for 60.
They're running down a little bit.
Yeah, they are. They
That's
just
good.
down.
We push them down. We push them down. We need to push them down.
No one on our right side.
Okay.
We have to push them down and walk in our right side. That's all we can do.
Walking up a little bit.
Just hold that. They're right there. They're right there. I hit 2 shots on Gibby.
Yeah, I have 100 light. I have 100 fucking light.
Team.
There's another team wrapping behind him. We can pinch them here. They're getting pinched now.
I don't think anyone's behind us.
A team could come from our right side.
I know, but we should pinch them.
I'm looking on this.
Gibby's almost cracked. They bubbled in the corner. I don't have nades or
I have
ammo
no nades too.
Doing it. 70 on Caustic.
They're Valk looking. Look at that. Look at that.
Shoot the Valk.
He's 30 HP.
Got him. I got him.
Nice. Try to get the kills.
Gibby 11 on the ground. Gibby 11. Get
back up. Gibby.
I knocked the Caustic. It's only the Gibby.
Nice. There's some in the corner.
I can't see.
In the corner. Checking her backside.
You can shoot Evan. You can shoot Evan.
Backside's clear.
They're dead. I have 40 light.
We can walk on north side for free. There's nobody there.
I know. I'm just saying.
Doing that. Walk up a little bit.
Careful. We can't commit to this, I don't think.
There's
a Gibby on the left side.
Can you grab light, Evan, maybe for me?
No, the boxes
they're right on the boxes. There's a Gibby on the left side and one of...
They're all 3 fucking off. I think you loot it, please.
All right, we gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta go.
We need light.
We gotta loot this. We have to loot this now.
Light and gut and ammo. You know,
I got light. I got light.
nades.
I'm coming now. I light for
Look
you.
for me. Look
Drop
for
it,
me.
drop it. We're gonna die to gas. Come on, we gotta go. I'm just gonna go. We gotta go now, Jordan. We're gonna die to gas.
Coming.
I have 0
Fuck, I
nades.
should have grabbed the bats.
Right here.
40 on
Somebody cracked. Dead?
Nice.
Hello?
I think there's a guy in front of us.
Yeah, there was 100%.
I'm gonna just ulti and use all my shit if we have to.
All right. I'm right behind you guys on the right side.
40 on one. 50 on Gib.
I ulted them. I hit them with my ulti.
I can't do anything.
I'm walking up.
I have no nades.
They're
bubbed. They bubbed.
They have give you ult.
They bubbed. No.
We're safe here. We're safe here.
They're right above us.
Yeah, just chill here. I'm good.
They arced us.
I'm safe here. I'm safe where I'm at.
I'm safe.
They
Yeah,
ulted.
give you ulti.
They give you. I'm in above.
Yeah.
At the bub.
They're my aim. They're getting naded.
We have nades. Anything.
No, I have nothing.
Can we swing this right side?
Yes.
They're getting thermited, it looks like. I'm gonna queue up, maybe.
They're in the crate.
110!
Walking up. I'm with you, Jordan. I'm with you.
Go!
Raid.
We're getting third party.
All
Hey,
day.
I got a hill. I got a swipe.
Popping a bat.
30. They're on me. Ash is on me. I'm one. You gotta hold. Shoot now. You have to shoot. You have to peek. I'm dead to that.
Slide down if you can.
I cannot. I'm dead. I'm just dead.
Yeah. It's the third.
TSM's journey through that canyon and out the other side. Not bad. A couple of kills, wiped out a few teams, but it's only the whole stack is left and has been able to at least find maybe another player, maybe another opportunity to get a kill, to get the down, but unfortunately falls at the exact same time, courtesy of Dewa United. A lot happening there, Genome as well, elsewhere, and we are getting towards the end here for match 6.
Helping to finish off element 6. We talked about Detonator being one of the teams that had the very most northern position, and they have continued to hold that for the entire game. Once again, the APAC North team has the god spot.
100 Thieves looking to finish strong here for match 6 as well. Detonator, a team with basically playing with house money here at this event, have been able to really prove themselves, but they've lost all of their armor. That defensive bombardment, a bane in their side now. As they fall back, they'll need to heal up, and it's 100 Thieves who are getting aggressive, trying to get into their face and finish them off. 3 squads remain, 8 players alive. Detonator, at least they were able to fall back, full armor, full health. They're ready to re-engage. And Dewa United, already who found victory earlier in match 4. Can they find a second win to close out round 2?
It's going to be pretty tough for them. Xenox, you can see they're down the bottom, only the 2 left alive. Doom and Easy Flash. Meanwhile, the other teams fully stocked, ready to go. We can see they might actually get into it with each other. I think that was that a mobile respawn beacon? Are they actually going to be able to get a res off while the other 2 are fighting? That would be insane.
That would absolutely be insane and could turn the tide here as well. Detonator, 4th place, 100 Thieves higher on the standings as well. Now Mia K lost a little bit of armor there, has to pop that shield battery. There comes back a full strength Dewa, but they are only behind that rock, and 100 Thieves surely are not going to allow them to push out.
I mean, unless there's a full death box behind there. Xenox, I don't know, they need to find their way as one somehow to get him back into it. You can see they're in a world of hurt, but meanwhile, the other 2 teams just don't seem to be worried about them, and because of that, they may actually get back into this.
Yeah, Dewa, right now what they need is Detonator to push onto 100 Thieves, and then they can be in a position where they can go for the third party. Detonator, though, not really looking to push out, not looking to be all that aggressive. It feels like it's 100 Thieves that are being the proactive team right now, setting the tone for the closing moments here of round 6.
And they might have pushed a little bit too far, Xenox. Vaxlon gets taken down by Mia Knightley, and it looks like 100 Thieves, Detonator just don't care about their back at all. Some trading now, going back and forth, and Dewa just creeping up the hill.
Could they find a 3rd match in a row for victory for APAC South? It could be the case. Detonator have to move away from that missile swarm now. It's Dewa United who have got triple red. They're in a great position. They've been able to get some time to recover, to push out. Now they're happy to take the fight. They're the top team here in this lobby group. They are looking to finish on top.
Okay, the full red armors, they have found provisions, and Daewoo not only have provisions now, but they've got the top spot, and everything's switched around. 100 Thieves, now they're on the low ground. They've only got 2 members, and that unfortunate fight that they decided to take with Detonator has been their own bane.
This is going to come down to basically 3 teams just having a free-for-all to close out match number 6. Detonator, that's bubbled down. Now you got to heal up, get those shields back up to full health. Now Vaxlon is gone, of course, so the 100 Thieves, they've only got the 2 players remaining. Olmu at red armor, Detonator, they need to start to get aggressive. They've been too passive. They need to push forward. Daewoo could find themselves in a position where I think 100 Thieves could pinch them with Detonator.
Yeah, they're struggling in the middle. They've got this crate to play around, but that's pretty damn hard, and Doom MVP goes down.
Time for Detonator to make the push forward. I think it's falling apart for Daewoo. Now, Detonator though, Meerkat loses that red armor, has to pop the shield back. Easy Flash is gone down courtesy of Yudu. 100 Thieves, are they going to be able to find themselves in the prime position despite being down to just the 2 players? Onmu loses armor, same with Scurry as well, and losing health too. 100 Thieves fall back down, but it's Detonator who find the elimination onto Daewoo United, and they've got the high ground to finish off strong for APAC North. All they've got to do is take out 100 Thieves, the team that didn't even think they would be here, find victory and close out round 2 on top.
Looks of pure joy on their faces, and well deserved. That was such a hard final circle to play. I mean, the tension between those 2 teams, between 100 Thieves and Detonator as they went back and forth was just so much that we saw a res with 3 teams left alive. I mean, that's not something that we see every day.
Yeah, and like I said, you know, they finished split 2 in 11th place. They were 1 spot out of making it to the playoffs through fortune, through good fortune. They've been able to find themselves here, and they are making it count. You know, they've been so impressive. You know, I've watched these guys for a little while now, and this is probably the best I've really seen from them. We know that they're a top team. We know that they can really perform, and they're proving it on the global stage. Detonator closing out round 2 with victory in match 6, and they absolutely deserved it. What a little free-for-all though, Gino, towards the end. Daewoo United, almost a chance for them to find 2 wins here in round 2. They had a pretty decent game. In fact, really all 3 of those teams towards the end really taking home a lot of points.
TSM also there in 4th, picking up 14 points in this 6th game. Will push them up the rankings a little bit, but I guess you don't even need to think about rankings, right?
Yep.
That's kind of the split mentality that we're in. Now that we're in the playoffs, it's the raw points, how many raw points you can actually take out of this. So 14 will help TSM, but if you think about how they've gone through this entire series, it's still probably a little bit of a letdown for them.
Team Empire, 11 kills, Gino, only the 2 placement points, but they'll take all 13 points on offer there from match number 6. We go over to the other side of the standings here. Again, it hasn't quite been the round for Reject, only the 1-point game. Sudoraiku couldn't really back up that match 5 win. They too down the bottom, but ultimately I think you can see on this side of the graphic how so much of the top teams really soaking up all of the points.
Yeah, even between the Indonesian teams we're seeing there with Revenant down at the bottom in 20th, but having a good start to the day, unfortunately falling off. They're going to be a little bit disappointed that they didn't take that momentum and just keep running. But, you know, Element 6, 10th seed in their region. Daewoo, I think they might have been the 5th seed in their region. So, you know, that's 2 teams who just barely scraped through into the LAN, and all of a sudden they're showing up when it matters.
Well, at the end of the day, when you come to such a grand event, when you've got 40 top teams from around the world, you know that they're going to be able to put on a show, and that's what we've really had here for round 2. I mean, seriously, the ALGS playoffs just continue to get better and better, Genome. It's been fantastic to watch, and I really think, again, reiterating, round 2 has been all about the diversity that we have here. South America really coming to the table, APAC South as well, and then obviously to close it out, APAC North. And we know that EMEA is going to be great. We know North America is going to be great. They'll be there towards the pointy end when it all matters on Sunday. But ultimately, it's really good to see all regions finding some success so far.
Yeah, look, big trips for these guys over there, and probably big expectations from their communities as well. You know, it's Zen. They really struggled in that first round, and then to come back and at least grab a win here is going to give them some confidence. But talking about the winners, it's Detonator for game 6 here. Only a splash of, roughly 1,000 damage across the board there for them, but that was enough.
But it's spread evenly. It's a team effort. I always love when we see all three players putting in basically an even performance. You can see that with the kills, the assists, the damage. These guys are great to watch. Mia Knightley, also known as Mia K, usually, and then YL and Yudu, absolutely fabulous performance and really putting Japan on the map with this victory. For Detonator, again, they didn't know that they were going to be here. They didn't expect to be here. They felt like they missed out. And so they are a team that does not want to miss out on this opportunity. They want to make everything count.
Yeah, and look, they've started to do that here in our second round today, Xenox. I'm sure we'll get the full standing soon, and then we'll get to see just exactly how well they've done.
Oh boy, I can't wait to see really where everyone is at now. What have we gone through? 12 games, of course only 6 more to go. By the end of the day, we'll know which teams are in the winners bracket and the losers bracket. And ultimately though, going into then round 3, that's where it might be sort of last chance for teams to find some points.
Yeah, there's so many more chances for these teams. No one will be eliminated today, and with 6 more games, why don't we find out what the panel thought about the 6 games that we just saw.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Fallout here alongside none other than Vicky, Kitty, and Elfish. Listen, there's a lot of APAC action to break down, whether it's APAC South or APAC North, and thank goodness we got Elfish Guy to help us decipher what we just saw. A really impressive showing there in Group A versus C for the APAC region.
Mate, I'll tell you, I was getting a little bit worried at one point. We get halfway through the competition, or through today's competition, and we haven't seen a single APAC South team. I'm thinking, mate, what did I even come for? Like we want some APAC South representation, but unfortunately we're not getting the wins. Luckily for me, we get the last 2 there, or the first 2 of the second half, and then you obviously get an APAC North team coming through as well for the win. So yeah, really impressive stuff. Obviously being able to step up. It was a bit of a slower start, I thought, for the APAC South teams in particular. Sutaraiku getting themselves a win definitely needed that to turn around what has been a bit of a rougher day, but I'm most impressed by this Daewoo United roster. Now, these guys formerly known as Method to Madness, coming from 5th in our region, were not, if I would do a power ranking, or if I'd look at the 3 teams that I would say from our region, from APAC South would perform, it'd be Reignite, Burger, and Sutaraiku. But Daewoo United, they just topped the lobby, so, I mean, credit to them, they're doing phenomenally.
Yeah, absolutely. Kudos to them. They, of course, get a win alongside Sutaraiku, and I guess if I say Aussie, 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 you say, oi, oi, oi. I'm mad. Yo, Vicky, what are you seeing here?
I'm seeing Element popping off, following Dua actually with their performance. I believe they finished overall with 61 points there. And then with that final performance that we saw in that final game, Detonator really coming through with that dub. Yeah, they finished first place with just 5 KP, but they were able to secure, I believe, top 3 after that.
Yeah, really, really great, consistent games from Element 6. And that's one thing we got to say. Look, we stay sleeping on E6, formerly 69 IQ. And every time they pop off, we're like, what? E6 is popping off? And the answer is they always do. I mean, they're always consistently a top 3, top 5 team, and E6 doing really well throughout this entire series. But game number 6 was a different story. It wasn't D6 from Mia. Instead, Elf, it was none other than Detonator. Really good rotation from low kill game.
And I mean, the boys on the cast were sort of saying it. This was a team that didn't even expect to be here, right? They were the team that replaced FA Kids, who couldn't obviously come to compete. And so Detonator, they're basically playing with house money in a sense, right? They've got absolutely nothing to lose. They just come in, do what they can. If they make it into the top 20, fantastic. They get some bit of money. If they don't, well, was the expectation that they were even going to be here anyway? No. So I think they're playing free. They're playing without really any pressure at all, unless they're putting it on themselves. But you got to say, I mean, they're sort of setting things on fire as well, right? They've come 3rd in that lobby. They're getting some good points on the board. So what's fantastic about this for me is, like, you come in with your expectations of X or Y team's really going to do well and blah blah blah. Someone did this and that in Split 2, but it sort of feels like anyone can actually succeed at the moment, right? We've seen Detonator, the team that came in 11th in APAC North, taking top 3. Daewoo, who came 5th in APAC South, they've topped the lobby. So it's not, I feel like you can't really go ahead and say, oh, this is what's going to happen, or that's what's going to happen, right? Well, obviously we're analysts, we're supposed to do that, but I feel like you just throw it all out the window and wait and see what happens.
Yeah, it's the most interesting thing at this point. Every region pretty fairly matched. We'll talk more about that in a little bit, because guess what? Leaderboards are ready. Let's go ahead and take a look at the overall leaderboards from Group A versus Group C. And on top, over everyone else, with the victory in this group matchup, is Dewey United Esports. Yeah. Again, a Method to Madness roster you wouldn't have expected to win, but they perform here. And very impressive job from them. Element 6, you called it, Vicky. Right behind them in second, EMEA looking solid. And then Detonator, the 11th best team in the APAC North region, coming through with wins over the likes of 100 Thieves, TSM, Cloud9, Alliance, so many others, including players, the gods from CIS.
If the 11th placing team could outperform these gigantic heavy hitters of a team, what does that say for all the unsung talent that haven't been able to make it out here to the LAN? It's insane. It's insane. It could be anybody's game at this point.
Vicky, you just said $1 million question. Truly, and that's what's beautiful about this ALGS format. Any person watching right now, we have hundreds of thousands across YouTube and Twitch. Any of you could be competing on the main stage in a future ALGS competition or season. The open qualifier format is brilliant. Kudos to John Nelson, the commissioner of the ALGS, Chris Pfeiffer, the entire team that puts together this format. It's great. And you got teams, like you said, like Zen, who weren't necessarily the top dogs in South America, but were able to kind of grind their way to the top. They obviously got a victory in game one. They popped off, but were a little bit more quiet. They end up in 17th place overall. The biggest disappointment on this list, I know exactly where you're probably going to go with this, Elfish, that 20th place finish from 80 Raccoon.
Well, yeah, I mean, see, the thing is, I felt like I could play both sides here, right? When we were talking about predictions, I said my prediction was AD Raccoon. What the graphic said was TSM. I sort of said in the green room, I was like, I'll just choose whichever one of them does better, right? And then I'll feel happy about it. Unfortunately, neither of the teams really popped off. And AD Raccoon, I mean, they've gone from 100 to 0. They topped their lobby in the very first lobby of the day, and then they've come dead last in this lobby. So that's a lot of inconsistency. That's really crazy for me. I'm not sure what to make of that. And that's kind of what I was getting at when I was saying, like, how can you come into this and analyze that? What can you possibly say that actually makes any sense? Because they've gone from top to bottom, and now we've got one more lobby to play. What can you even expect from them? Like, how can you fathom where they could possibly go from here?
And if that's the case, by the transitive property of mathematics, you could also say, well, from group stages to champ bracket tomorrow, a team can play bad in groups but perform tomorrow. Right. This is just the beginning, my friends, in this kind of pool play format, if you will. It's going to be really interesting to see how things continue to shake up. But before we continue to break things down, guess what? We got two Brits live on the main stage for an interview. It's my good friend Killer Pigeon, joined alongside the controller god himself. It's Nags from Element 6.
That's right, Fallout. We have got Nags here from Element 6. Of course, just missing out on that top spot, but looking lethal as this went on. And Nags, you were just telling me this is your first big LAN, this is your first big event. Yeah. How are you handling that pressure?
Honestly, coming into the LAN, I was just so excited to play because I know I've heard, like, you know, there's the ping, the latency is all low, and I heard that it's a buff controller. And today, I was just so excited to play. I just wanted, to show, the world, the Apex world, who I am and stuff like that. And I was confident in my abilities. Like, I know what I can do and stuff. But yeah, I just tried to be confident and just outperform basically. But yeah.
Yeah, and we can definitely see that confidence come through. I mean, the crazy thing is a lot of people going in this, they probably had their top 10, the big organizations looking at the top. But we've seen that's not the case at all. Dewa, Element 6, like, you're all coming through. Did you have any of these, like, top 10 on your radar right now, or are there any big dark horses that you're already seeing that you're trying to keep track of?
Honestly, this lobby especially was like the hardest lobby. You had teams like Hardeki, you had also teams like TSM, NRG, Alliance, so many big teams, ADR, Crazy Raccoon. So we were coming into thinking like, oh, this is going to be like our hardest lobby and we need to do good. And the dark horse, I'll say, like the Apex South teams, like Dewa and Detonator. I think Dewa ended up winning with 64 points, and Detonator was third. So yeah, they definitely performed really well today as well.
Did you find any of them tricky for meta differences? Because obviously this is a lot of data to process at one time, right? Like, you've had regional play for so long. This is the first interregional. Is there anything that's standing out that you're probably going to go back and analyze that you feel like you want to change about your gameplay that's been inspired by a different region?
Honestly, when it comes to like analyzing stuff, is more K-Swinny. He's like the IGL, and he basically but especially with like all the regions coming in together and playing in the lobby, it's like a lot of different methods. You have like Watson, you have Crypto. You also have like, I see teams playing Loba now, so it's a whole lot of different methods basically. But yeah, the whole analyzing is just Swinny. Like he's got the brain. I'm just there to shoot, and I sometimes like to like help him call and stuff like that, and like basically have like a third view eye of it and everything he's doing. But yeah, I think it was just Swinny's calling and stuff was like amazing today. It was really good.
Yeah, and of course, K-Swinny being the IGL, usually they'll be your kind of go-to person. They'll be the person dictating the flow of the game. Would you say your team has a very open format where there's a lot of suggestions coming out from each player, or is it quite restrictive with K-Swinny just taking the leads at all times?
I feel like it's more restricted, but there's sometimes like today we were playing on the big mode, and I just called and I said, oh, I think we should play here because there's less angles that we could get shot from. And he was like, yeah, this is a good call and stuff. So yeah, I think it's more restricted, but sometimes like he will listen to one of our calls and stuff. But I think it's perfectly fine. I think it's better if a team has a restricted IGL, so you can just like listen to him and not like, you know, counter his calls basically.
I mean, you can feel free to say this to yourself, but like every team kind of has that pop-off player, that one that the rest of the team relies on in that moment they can trust in. Who is that for you on Element 6? And is that a situation where maybe that person takes the lead in the comms and maybe dictates what's next?
For pop-off, I'll say it was me. Personally, I mean, I got signed for the team to be as a fragger. And we played a lot of online tourneys, but my style when I first came, it was like to take angles and stuff. And after maybe 2-3 months of me playing with Swinny and Slayers, he decided to want me to be more kind of AP and just go straight in, just do the damage, you know, get like 1 clips and just basically do damage. So me coming into this line, I was really confident in my playstyle, and I just wanted to, you know, trust his calls. And if he says push this, I don't want to like hesitate. So yeah, I'll say damage dealer probably me, but like calls wise and everything else is just Swinny. Me and Slayers are just, you know, just the backbone of the team.
Hey man, either way you look at it, what I'm hearing right there is a lot of trust given each way, and I trust that's going to take you far in this tournament. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. Let's head it back over to the desk. Thank you very much, Nags.
Thank you so much to Killer Pigeon and to Nags. Interesting perspective, right, from this team who's obviously gone through some diversity, a few roster changes, but ultimately they're still performing the same way that they did last split, and so far so good on group stages. But the big question is, this is just group stages. You got to perform in champ brackets starting on Saturday, and of course in the match point finals on Sunday. And that's what's really interesting. I guess one time real quick, Vicky, if you don't mind, very fast explanation of kind of how the format works for those that are just maybe tuning in of this brilliant playoff format.
Yeah, so aside from the points that you're able to obtain throughout the different games, everything's cumulative. So you're going to be racking up all these points throughout the next few games, and altogether, those points are going to determine where you're going to be placed in what bracket starting tomorrow. You have some teams moving on to the winner's bracket.
Top 20.
Top 20 teams starting off in the winner's bracket, and then the other teams going on to the lower bracket there too. So then from there, you want to maintain being in that winner's bracket, because on finals day, those top 10 teams that will start off in the winner's bracket will start off with points with an advantage.
Yeah, well, I've never been more disappointed in my life, Vicky. You just called it the lower bracket, the loser's bracket.
I have it stuck in my
had
head,
this discussion.
too.
We've been there.
We were talking
You
about
lost.
it and everything, too. We were talking about the elimination bracket. It's the same thing.
Bracket. That's like the everybody gets a trophy bracket if you call it the elimination. No, I'm just kidding. But jokes
Everyone's
aside,
a winner.
Losers bracket versus winners bracket is a big deal, obviously, to kick things off. And let's take a look at the updated standings here so everyone can see from the other stream. This is Group B versus D, what went down, and it's NA on top. There's been a lot of banter, a lot of rhetoric, a lot of criticism on Twitter and elsewhere around North America showing up. Well, hey, Optic Gaming, Team Liquid showed up, and that's 2 series in a row for Team Liquid, and Optic honestly looking pretty good as well.
Yeah, looking at Team Liquid, they are absolutely performing out of their mind. Yeah, you're seeing Team Optic all the way on the top, but let's not forget round 1. Let's not forget what we saw from Team Liquid, just absolutely dominating the lobbies, and I believe that actually sets up Team Liquid as the overall #1 spot so far after these first 2 rounds.
Very, very dominant.
Yeah, I got to give a quick shout out to Team Burger. To be honest, they started this lobby.
Of course you do.
Yeah, I know, right? Apex South bias, whatever. They started the lobby in last place. They played like 3 or 4 games and they were in last place. I was looking at the scoreboard, I was thinking, geez, this is not looking too good. But then they had a second and a first. They jumped themselves up into 6th overall, a little bit better of a performance. So I think what's really interesting again is that you're not necessarily locked into any of these positions. It can really just change in the blink of an eye, and obviously we've only got 6 games left to go, but those 6 games, if you really pop off, you can step yourself up into the top 20, and the reality is the top 20 may as well be first place, as long as you get into that upper bracket.
Exactly.
That's what matters.
There's no difference between 20th place and first place in this format. You're still going to qualify for winner's bracket. There's no seeding advantage. Unlike match point format in the finals, where the top 10 teams are going to get a little bit of a points advantage, does not exist for tomorrow. So all you got to do is place top 20. Teams like TSM, IG, who aren't playing so well, have a chance. And that's the thing. You guys have been talking about some teams that are performing well. There's a lot of big storylines here of the teams that were expected to perform well but aren't necessarily doing that so far in group stages. Obviously, TSM and NRG, the big 2. But Invictus, IG, in my eyes, that's a disappointing showing. They made the controversial roster decision led by their coach, EMEF, and they have not showed up. Let's take a look at the overall standings to continue the conversation here as it currently stands. Going into one more 6-game series, these are your top 20 teams. Space Station on the fringe, Team Liquid, and Optic Gaming for the first time in Apex Legends on top in the top 2. 4-7 representing APAC North, Alliance representing EMEA, and Element 6 right behind them. So again, in that top 10 alone, we got 2 APAC North teams, an APAC South team, 2 or 3, maybe 4 EMEA teams, and 3 or 4 North American teams. Very evenly distributed here. Vicky, walk me through the rest.
It's actually insane to see that Space Station is by the border right there. We were talking about where's North America. I mean, they've been popping off for Nicewig and Greek God. I mean, they've been performing looking at Team Liquid Optic Gaming.
Luminosity,
but
Mexico.
Yeah, look at Luminosity. We're talking about the sponsor curse here, but they're sitting in 12th place overall here too, and it's beautiful to see. G2, they had a rough start to today, yet they're still coming up on the climb. Very similar to how Optic started off in their first round.
I think the thing for me that I really want to highlight when we're looking at this is that, realistically speaking, almost every single team, even regardless of how many points they've got right now, could still make their way into the top 20. If we're looking at the maximum amount of points that you're going to get in a 6-game series, or even just taking into account today's results, 79 points was the max that any team has gotten so far. That was 80 Raccoon at the start of the day. So let's say 60, 70 points maybe if you have a really good lobby. And at the moment, if you get 60, 70 points, that could jump you up to potentially 90. I'm looking at CLG right now. They're on 23 points. They could get up to 93 points, and that potentially is enough to actually get you into the top 20, given, obviously the cutoff at the moment is 63 points. You're not going to be expecting every single team to perform in this final lobby. So I think there is a bit of a leeway, right? It makes your job a lot more difficult. It means you have to perform in this next lobby coming up, but the day is not over yet for all these teams down even to number 40.
Absolutely, and that's what's interesting. Keep in mind here, there's a couple asterisks I want to actually mention. GMT, obviously playing with the sub, Strafey in Ukraine, and not able to make it. Players playing with the sub as well, performing there on the front page. And then, of course, Team Singularity, heart goes out to them. They're playing with a team of 2. Unfortunately, did not have a substitute filed, so they are playing only with 2 players and still somehow above Zen and CLG. Pretty darn impressive, if you ask me. CLG, a big disappointment here. NRG, TSM on the cusp as well. It all comes down to this final matchup and if TSM and NRG can perform.
What do you think needs to change here, Fallout? We were looking at some composition changes at the very end. Energy going with the Watson. We saw how going on the horizon. Some of these last-minute comp changes now as we change over from World's Edge into Stormpoint have now been more consistent. And is that really working out for some of our heavy-hitting teams, or at least what we were expecting to be our heavy-hitting teams at this LAN?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. In my eyes, the biggest thing with TSM that's been interesting is their inability to place. They're getting kills. They're doing what, obviously, they do well with a little bit of aggression, but they're deciding, and I've referenced it a few times, to play edge. They're deciding to play a little bit more of a fight, at least when they early rotate, as opposed to just fast rotate, post up, and play for maybe a lower kill game, but get that top 3, top 2 place. I don't think TSM, the fact that TSM has not won a game yet is so unlike them. The fact that I don't even know if they've placed top 3 yet, if I'm thinking correctly, that's very, very uncharacteristic.
Other than that, maybe that first game where they definitely had a great pop-off game, but it was kind of the only time we really saw them have that pop-off game. But aside from that, I feel like this kind of follows the TSM storyline, where it's like day number 1, they're kind of starting off slow. Then day number 2, they start ramping things up. It's like everybody slept on them because of what they did in day number 1, and then they have something to prove beyond that. Because that's kind of what has followed the TSM storyline so far.
And go ahead.
I mean, the reality is, like, they're just on the cusp. It's not been an awful day for TSM.
Exactly.
It's been fine, and that's the same that you can say for quite a few teams in that capacity, right? I don't think they necessarily need to change a whole lot up, right? I don't even necessarily say that they need to change up their compositions or anything like that. I know they have been trying it a little bit. Horizon coming in there for Hal, but end of the day is they're 1 point behind SSG. So all they need to do is get 1 point more than SSG in this next lobby, and they can potentially get themselves up into the top 20. It's been fine. You just need to tighten up that little bit, and all of a sudden, you're in the top 20. And then from there, it doesn't matter. The storyline is, again, you're in the top 20, you're in the winners bracket.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Any of those teams, even all the way down to 40th, have a chance to potentially pop off here. Obviously, another kind of some key notable storylines. We talk about TSM and NRG, such big brands and names, but there's also CLG, dead last right now. Nano and his scientific beliefs, unfortunately, not performing yet. And then you have IG International, huge story. They make a very controversial roster decision. They pick up Urban, unproven, young gun. They replace their 3rd in Blasts. Well, I had a chance to meet Noises. I'm really impressed with him as an IGL. All eyes on them. And guess what? We'll see both of them in this Group A versus Group D matchup. Another big story I'm excited for in this last main stage match. Well, it's G2, the Roller Boys, represented on the main stage for the very first time in their debut. And we're also going to have teams like Reignite, who I know you're excited for, Alf.
I am. Yeah, look, It's an unfortunate story for Reignite, obviously, but it looks like they've actually been doing really well today. So I got to give them credit for that.
Top 20.
Right? You lose the #1 most impactful player in your region.
In the world, like literally, he's up there. Top 5 player, top 5 controller player, undoubtedly.
And that was a big question we wanted to answer here. But they're not playing with Jen Burton. Obviously, there's no getting around that. The fact that JMW has come into this roster and, like, maybe they've never even spoken to the guy in his life before, slotted in, seems like they're having a pretty decent, solid performance. They're sitting in 14th overall. Like, it hasn't been anything amazing. It hasn't been pop-off. It hasn't been tournament winning. But I'll give them credit for that. Make it into the top 20, and then the longer you get time to sort of make this work together as a roster, get a bit more familiar with your team, maybe you come back tomorrow, you have a good solid performance and make it into the top 10 or do what you need to do. Either way, credit where it's due.
Yeah, absolutely. This is their first time playing together as a team. Imagine when they mesh and mold a little bit into Saturday and Sunday. Meanwhile, flipping over to our side stream, you can, of course, catch the action. You've probably been doing it all day long with the boy Nicewig and my Greek brother, Mr. Greek God himself, as it's going to be the Group B versus Group C matchup. You see him up there representing, holding it down, taking a little bit of a well-deserved break with the Windows screen, as you see right there. They're chilling for a second, having some dinner, I'm sure, as well. But guess what? They will be live with the B stream for that Group B versus C matchup, bringing the energy, bringing the noise and excitement. It's been fun to have that kind of diversity of a watch party kind of format and vibe up there. And obviously, we're a little more suit and tie, keep it a little professional with the bomber jacket style down here on the main stream. But we appreciate y'all. Hope you guys are enjoying the action at home, of course, watching things like multi-view. We now have the new stats feature where you can watch stats in real time, which is amazing, which is all obviously very, very exciting. And now I officially have to transition to the segment I was looking forward to least on this desk.
Oh, no.
And it's the talent prediction segment. And our AD Raccoon and TSM predictions not looking so good. Vicky, your NRG prediction. Oh, I beat you by 3 points.
It's shambles.
All of us are in shambles, to be honest.
Oh, no. If I could put the trash emoji on the teleprompter, I definitely would in this situation right here. But Alliance.
Pigeon, new gun.
Yeah.
Get on the block.
Pigeon knew. He knew the script. We unfortunately did not get the script in time before the talent predictions. But this really should highlight what is going on in these lobbies.
Yeah.
And we still got Group A versus D to come.
Exactly. Look, I'll take the TSM prediction at this point. Like I said, I did say 80
You did say 80 Raccoon, actually.
Hey, I'll take the free 14 points. I will take the free 14 points. Either way, yeah, I agree with you, Vicky. It's a fantastic point because, again, we're supposed to come in here, we're supposed to be the experts, we're supposed to know what's happening, and then we're all throwing in our predictions, and it's just getting completely tossed out the window, which is, actually, to be honest, I like that. I actually prefer that because I think, you set up these storylines, you set up these expectations, and it's all for the better when it actually gets thrown out the window. That means you get an upset.
And before you roast us, by the way, if any of y'all say you would have predicted Dua to win that one out or Detonator to get
You're lying.
3, you're literally lying, okay? Stop saying, stop pretending. But now, jokes aside here, obviously, that's the competition. That's what we've been looking forward to with this LAN tournament. The first international competition that we have seen in almost 3 years, and for the first time in that long, we have a chance to see who are the top teams, who's going to perform, who are the best regions, how have things developed. It has been so exciting here at the ALGS Split 2 playoffs. $1 million on stake here. And not only that, the biggest thing, qualification for champs. We haven't been talking about that nearly enough. We'll talk more about that, obviously, in quite a bit, but the top 30 teams from this competition and from overall ALGS points will qualify for the ALGS Championships later this year. But hey, it's been a great day of Apex action so far. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to give the players a chance to eat some dinner. We're going to get some dinner as well. Obviously, it's been a long day here from Stockholm, Sweden. We'll be right back, and when we come back in a few hours, or maybe an hour and a half or so, we'll be live with our Group A versus Group D matchup, G2 versus TSM. We know you in North America have been looking out for it, and many, many more matchups. See you later.